Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook, Uchiha Family's Reincarnation. Chapter 81, Breath of Fire 1 Type Shiranui. Type 2, Ascension to Heaven and Blazing Flames. Type 3 Qi Yan Vientian. In the square, Uchiha Mingjing kept waving the wakizashi in his hand, using the 9 sword forms of the Breath of Fire that Purgatory Anjiro just showed him. Yusui Tianyuan, who was standing next to Purgatory Xingjulong and watching this scene together, looked as if this was indeed the case. Sure enough, I learned it brilliantly just after watching it once. Yusui Tianyuan smacked his lips in surprise. Even though he was mentally prepared, he couldn't help but feel shocked when he saw this outrageous performance again. Anjiro was a little surprised at first, but soon returned to his usual smiling expression. It seems that what my father said is right. I am indeed a person with mediocre talents. The breath of fire that young Mirror Master was able to learn in such a short time took me so much time back then. Purgatory Anjiro's face had the word happiness written all over it. He thought simply, isn't it a good thing that his companions can learn the breath of fire in such a short time? If it is a good thing, you should be happy. Yusui Tianyuan looked at Purgatory Xingjulong with a speechless expression. Is that what you call mediocre talent? His father was a mess, and he relied on 3 manuals to become the flame pillar of the Demon Slayer Corps. He was born with a strong body and amazing strength. This kind of talent cannot be envied by others even if they want to. But, Yusui Tianyuan looked at Mingjing, who came to Xingqiulang to ask for Changzhong's breathing method. Compared with this guy, it seems that everyone's talent can only be considered mediocre, right? Moreover, the character of this new flame pillar seems to be the complete opposite of that of water pillar Tomioka Gyu. The brain circuits are all different from normal people. But in terms of popularity, it was exactly the opposite. He liked it very much. A few days later, Butterfly House. After joining the Demon Slayer Corps, Uchiha Mingjing moved here. Because after the insect pillar Butterfly Ninja heard that Mingjing was born to be able to use the red eye of the other side, without any load, he was curious and wanted to check it out for him. However, the current timeline is 1912. Although Butterfly Ninja has superb medical skills, he still uses more traditional medical methods and cannot detect anything. Moses. Butterfly Nin's gentle voice came from outside the door, accompanied by a gentle knock on the door. Miss Shinobi, didn't you check it yesterday? Mingjing opened the door and looked curiously at the smiling Butterfly Ninja outside the room. It's Mingjing, and your Nichiren sword has been forged. The person in charge of forging the sword is Master Tetsuyasen, who is also a highly skilled craftsman. In addition, this is a team uniform sewn according to your requirements. Butterfly Ninja gently handed the 2 pieces of clothing in his hands to Mingjing. Quickly put it on and see if it fits you. Don't keep Master Tetsuyasen waiting. Mingjing took the 2 pieces of clothing, shook them off and put them on one after another. The one inside is the Demon Slayer's most basic black-brown long coat, with a large word for annihilation written on the back. It is made of special fiber and has strong moisture-proof and flame-proof properties. It also has good defense capabilities and can be used in battles. To a certain extent, it blocks the claws of ghosts from tearing apart. Although it is not very fashionable in terms of style, it looks much better than Konoha's ugly green vest. Except for this one, it is a feather fabric woven according to Mingjing's requirements. The overall color is blue and black, which Mingjing is accustomed to. The Uchiha clan emblem is tattooed on the back with a red and white fan. He could not grow to where he is today without the support of the Uchiha clan, so Mingjing also has a strong sense of belonging to the Uchiha themselves. It looks really good. Come out quickly. Don't keep Master Tetsuyasen waiting too long. The Butterfly Ninja looked at Uchiha Mingjing's figure with clothes on, and raised his beautiful eyebrows slightly. The appearance of the Uchiha clan is not too low, and the same is naturally true for Uchiha Mingjing. Although he is not old and has not fully grown up, he will not be too handsome even if he stands with handsome guys like Kato Dan and Namikaze Minato. Lower the average appearance. However, the Butterfly Ninja only slightly appreciated the beautiful things, and did not have any extra thoughts about a 12 or 13-year-old boy. Butterfly House, in the tea house. Tetsuya Mori Kozo wore a funny fireman mask on his face. He held a Nichiren sword in his hand sternly and did not touch the teacup on the table. Miss, is the swordsman named Ming Jing not here yet? Tetsuya Mori Kozo asked as he looked at Rika Rakana, who was sitting across from him in a daze, picking up guests for Butterfly Ninja. Chestnut flowers fall and fragrant. Operator. With a silly expression on her face, Chanel silently took out a coin and threw it into the air, then caught it. Reverse side. With a smile on her face, Shanahu slowly shook her head at Tiejungangzo. She has never had her own thoughts. Because of her tragic childhood experience, she would panic when asked about her thoughts. It was her sworn sister, her ex-sister, Kanae Butterfly, who gave her this coin to replace her. Make your own decision. Tiejungangzang sighed helplessly. Why is it that there are so many weirdos in the sword forging village, but they are still like this in the Demon Slayer squad? I'm so sorry, Master Tieshwaisen, I'm late. Ming Jing, wearing a blue and black haori, strode to the front of Tiejun Morigongzang. It's not in the way. Tetsuya Mori Kozo shook his head, and looked curiously at the Uchiha mirror with the eyes exposed from the fireman's mask. He had heard that the young man in front of him had a similar background to Yinzu Yusui Tianyuan, and he had a high probability of becoming the next pillar of the Demon Slayer squad. Let's try what color your Nichiren sword will turn into first. For most swordsmen, the color of the sword determines their future development direction. Tai Shuisin held the Sun Lun knife in both hands and handed it to Ming Jing. With a crack sound, the slender blade was pulled out of the scabbard by Ming Jing. Gradually, two colors spread on the sun blade. The blade and the surrounding blade are covered with an obvious layer of blue-gold color, which is a gold that is more cyan in tone. The blade at the back that is closer to the spine of the blade turns red, and the part that is connected to the golden blade, the parts blend into each other, showing a flame-like pattern, which looks gorgeous and mysterious. Really beautiful colors, like this two-color mixed Nichiren sword, rarely appear in the history of the Demon Slayer Corps, but this golden red color scheme simply looks like the sound column Sama, and it's the same as the combination of Lord Enju's Nichiren sword. Tetsuo Sengongzang looked at the blade of the Nichiren sword in Ming Jing's hand and couldn't help but admire it. Is it like the combination of Yusui Tianyuan and Purgatory Angero's Nichiren sword? Yusui Tengen's Nichiren sword is mainly golden, with a certain amount of black, and the handle is red. Purgatory Angero's is closer to him, with red as the main color, and a small amount of yellow, which looks like burning. The flame is general. The Nichiren sword in Ming Jing's hand is also mainly red, but the proportion of gold is not small, and it is a rather special green-gold color. Could it be that my Nichiren sword has this color because I have mastered two breathing methods, namely the breathing of sound and the breathing of flame? Ming Jing felt that it was not only because of this, but maybe it was also related to his innate chakra attributes. Coincidentally, his chakra attributes are wind, thunder, and fire. Let's not talk about breathing of flame. Breathing of sound belongs to the derivative genre of breathing of thunder. However, when pointing out the mirror before, Yusui Tianyuan also said that the founder of breathing of sound was when he invented this breathing method. Thinking that the breath of thunder was not suitable for him, he also learned the breath of wind. Finally, he used the breath of thunder as the main part and blended it with the breath of wind to create the breath of sound that best suited him. This coincides with the chakra attribute of Ming Jing himself. The sun disk in the reaction knife's hand is red, which represents the flame, and the green-gold color formed by wind and thunder. But no matter what, these two breathing methods are very easy to use. The breathing method of sound focuses on agility and physical strength, which are what ninjas are good at. The breath of flame focuses on explosions, and is quite outstanding in terms of both power and speed. It is the breathing style closest to the breath of the sun, the ancestral breathing method. Thank you very much, Mr. Tai Shansen. I like this knife very much. It feels good when wielding it. Ming Jing raised his sword and waved a few sword flowers lightly, feeling that the weight and length fit him very well. It is much better than the ordinary standard wakizashi that I bought in Konoha 2 years ago for 100,000 taels. 100,000 taels can only buy this kind of ninja sword of average quality. Even with Ming Jing's careful maintenance, after 2 years, this sword will inevitably have some cracks after many battles. Although it can still be used, but it's also nearing the end of its useful life. As long as Mr. Ming Jing likes it. As the forger of this knife, I also hope that you can use this knife to kill more ghosts and save more people. After Iron Point Morigongzo personally handed over the Nichiren sword he forged to his swordsman, he also achieved his goal. He immediately stood up and picked up the package next to him. I believe that after Mr. Ming Jing receives the sword, he will soon carry out the mission. I also wish Mr. Ming Jing good luck in martial arts. Xiongongzhang nodded to Ming Jing and took his luggage out the door. Next, Yin, who was waiting outside in advance, would take him back to the Forging Sword village. As Tatsuya Mori Kozo said, not long after receiving the Nichiren sword, a raven came to call Ming Jing, who had just become familiar with the feel of the new sword, to perform the task. This is exactly what I want. If I don't go out for a walk, I really won't be able to make my next plan. On the path outside the butterfly house, the mirror followed the crows in the sky. Looking for an opportunity to avoid Yan Ya's sight, Ming Jing quietly created another shadow clone. Go to Mount Sagi and see if Tanjiro is there. If not, then go find out about the whereabouts of the Kamado family. Ming Jing ordered one of the shadow clones. The shadow clone nodded silently, then used the conventional blinding method taught in the ninja school to avoid the sight of the crow, and used the teleportation technique to fly towards Yuan Fei. Although he had learned the breathing of fire and the breathing of sound, Ming Jing was not satisfied. Just like the ninja world, different sage modes have different emphases. For example, the senjutsu of Raichi Cave focuses more on ninjutsu, and the senjutsu of Mount Miaomu focuses more on the body. Different breathing schools also focus on it. The breath of fire is stronger. In the explosion, breath of sound is strong in agility and physical strength. As the ancestral breathing method, sun breathing is the breathing method with the strongest comprehensive ability. Although those who knew the breathing of the sun were almost killed by the Black Death Eye 300 years ago, this breathing method was still passed down as a dance in the Kamado family, which had been burning charcoal for generations. In the original work, it seems that the Kamado family was killed by the ghost king Muhan in the year when Anjiro just became a pillar, leaving only the eldest son Tanjiro, who failed to return home in time because of taking out charcoal, and his sister Yahoo turned into a ghost, Beans. But it was already a cold winter at that time, and now it is still the end of summer, so there is still a certain amount of time. And once it snows heavily one day, even if Ming Jing finds out the news, he will never go again. Instead, he will obediently wait for Tanjiro to be found by Tomioka Gyu. With his actual Jonin level strength, he is definitely a high-level combat power in this world, but if it is the Ghost King Muzan, or one of the top strings, the Black Death Eye, he has no confidence now. Now, let's complete the mission first. No matter what, the Demon Slayers have taught me the breathing method. I'd better help them as much as possible to get rid of these man-eating ghosts. Ming Jing glanced at the bird leading the way and thought silently. He likes everyone in the Demon Slayer squad. The ninja world is his current foundation, but if these pillars who want to protect the lives of others even if they die are placed in the ninja world, every one of them will be regarded as a saint. Ming Jing boasts that he cannot do these things, but it does not prevent him from admiring these people, even if the vast majority of them are not as powerful as himself. Hey, Matsuchiro, can you come down for a moment? Matsuchiro is the name of Ming Jing's crow. According to the one who gave him the crow, all the crows in Matsuchiro's family like to eat pine nuts, so they are called Matsuchiro, Matsujiro, etc. Uchiha Ming Jing, Uchiha Ming Jing. Southeast, southeast, Mountain Village Haunted House, Mountain Village Haunted House. Matsuchiro screamed and flew from the sky to Ming Jing's shoulder, pecking at the pine nuts in Ming Jing's palm, eating one and shouting. I know it's the Mountain Village Haunted House in the southeast, but Matsuchiro, you fly too slowly. Matsuchiro tilted his head and stared at Uchiha Ming Jing with his little eyes. So, you should fly as fast as you can. Ming Jing is different from most swordsmen. Except for those swordsmen who can maintain the breathing method and apply it to every move at all times to gain powerful strength and physical strength, other swordsmen will not waste a lot of physical strength on breathing methods when they are on the road. They still have to save physical strength to fight with ghosts. However, for the ninjas in the ninja world, this is not a problem. Summer goes, autumn comes, and winter comes again. In the past few months, Ming Jing has completed many missions, and among the 10 levels under the Demon Slayer pillar, he has been promoted to the highest level, level A. The distance became a pillar, and it was just a matter of killing a few ghosts to make up the 50, or killing a ghost with 12 ghost months. But Spiegel doesn't care about being a pillar or anything. He was concerned with other things. It's almost winter, yet there's no news about Tanjiro's family. In the evening, Ming Jing sighed and frowned at the crowd on the street. Everyone has changed into winter clothes. However, Kamado's family lives alone in a ravine. Other known information is that the family makes a living by selling charcoal, but until winter, few people will buy charcoal. It is even more impossible for Tanjiro to just sell charcoal before that. To make money by selling charcoal, you must do other things. Although ninjas are good at collecting intelligence, they are still in a very backward society in this era, and the ways to obtain intelligence are limited. Ming Jing almost searched the area where Shueju was responsible and the surrounding areas but couldn't find it. Tomioka Yoshiyuki was forced by Ming Jing to perform tasks further away. That's all. I am lucky, but I will lose my life. No matter what, even if the Kamado family is not found, Tanjiro will eventually join the Demon Slayer Corps. Ming Jing could only comfort himself with this. He had just completed a mission and took advantage of his free time to stop by to gather information. The current town happened to be at the foot of a mountain. From time to time, mountain people would cut firewood and burn charcoal and send it to the town at the foot of the mountain for sale. Because there are very few entertainment methods in this era, except for daily practice. Outside of work, Ming Jing's greatest enjoyment is soaking in hot springs and tasting delicious food. After all, he is a person who will not treat his taste buds and stomach badly even on the battlefield of the Ninja World War. Just as he was about to find a passerby to inquire about local food, Ming Jing quietly discovered an acquaintance. She was a very beautiful young woman, wearing a kimono that was decent and elegant but did not affect her mobility. She had light pink eyeshadow on the corners of her eyes, and her long snow-white hair was styled like a married woman's hairstyle. She looked like a birch wood elf. Ubuyashiki Amane, the wife of Ubuyashiki Yoya, the leader of the Demon Slayer squad, was born into a family of priests. Senior Tianyan, hearing Ming Jing's voice calling him, Ubuyashiki Amane turned around lightly and saw Uchiha Ming Jing. It turns out to be you, Ming Jing. Why is Senior Tianyan here? Are you also going to perform a mission? Ming Jing stared curiously at the Nichiren sword in Ubuyashiki Amane's hand. No, I just found the descendants of the ancestor swordsman. Ubuyashiki Amane shook his head. According to records, the name of the powerful swordsman who created the breathing technique was Enichi Sukuni. Even the demon slayers did not leave much information about him. We only recently discovered the whereabouts of the Sukuni clan. Quote, it is said that the breathing method used by the ancestor swordsman is completely different from our current breathing method. It is the source of all breathing methods and the most powerful breathing method. However, it was lost a long time ago. Over the years, the Demon Slayer squad we have been trying to restore this breathing method, but we have never been able to find a way, so we began to look for the descendants of the ancestor swordsman in order to obtain some relevant information. Quote, the descendants of the Jigyu clan have now evolved into the Tokido clan. Only 2 brothers are left to make a living by chopping wood. Although they have no inheritance of the ancestors' breathing method, I also want to see if I can introduce them to the Demon Slayer Corps. But unfortunately, the elder of the 2 brothers was very wary of outsiders and refused to go down the mountain. Quote, Ubuyashiki Amane's cold eyes cast towards a mountain in the distance. Ming Jing followed her gaze and looked into the distance. It was already dark, and under the night sky, the mountains looked so calm and dull. Tokido's family. He remembered that the future demon slayer Kasumashiro was called Tokido Muichiro. Senior Tianyan wants to introduce them to the Demon Slayer Corps. Does he think that it is easier for people with the same bloodline as the ancestral swordsman to become strong? Ubuyashiki Amane nodded first, then shook his head. It can only be said that this is part of the reason. A person's talent and personality will be greatly affected by innate blood genes. Of course, acquired growth is also crucial, but the offspring of the strong are, in terms of probability, it is true that it is easier to give birth to strong people. Speaking of which, Ubuyashiki Amane also gave an example. It's like the Purgatory family. For hundreds of years, the flame pillar positions in the Demon Slayer Corps have been held by members of the Purgatory family. There has never been a vacancy in the past generations. For example, Anjiro and the others, every flame pillar can be perfect. Fulfill your duties as a pillar. As far as I know, the first batch of swordsmen who mastered the breathing method are the strongest group of swordsmen in the Demon Slayer Corps. The first flame pillar who mastered the breath of fire is also among them. But in addition to these, the location where Tokido's family lives now is also very dangerous. The inaccessible mountain forest is the most vulnerable place to be attacked by ghosts, because if it is in a prosperous town, once the news spreads, it is likely to attract ghosts to kill Team Swordsman's attention. But unfortunately, there have been a lot of human disappearances here recently. I suspect that there are ghosts nearby, but I haven't been able to find any traces, but I haven't been able to convince the Tokido family. Ubuyashiki Amane lowered his head and sighed. In fact, if you ask me, it would be the same to just tie them up alive and take them down the mountain and persuade them properly. As a ninja who values efficiency, especially a ninja from the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Mingjing does not agree with the procrastination of Ubuyashiki Amane. Ubuyashiki Amane smiled slightly and did not reply. Everyone has his own way of doing things, and in the past few months since joining the Demon Slayer Corps, Mingjing has perfectly deepened the impression of the word ninja on the members of the Demon Slayer Corps. Succinct, efficient, full of execution, and with strong intelligence search and analysis capabilities and tactical formulation capabilities, and even good battlefield command capabilities, these are the skills that a qualified Konoha Jonin must have. Sometimes, many things don't need to be complicated. The simpler, the more effective. Things that should be solved at the moment should be solved at the moment. Otherwise, it will often lead to the consequences that you least want to see. Mingjing thought of Hashirama Senju, the first generation of Hokage. If the Great Pillar had joined hands with Uchiha Madara to unify the ninja world, there would be no ninja world war later. Establishing a unified regime can at least maintain peace for hundreds of years. On the contrary, the current ninja world has become what Senju Hashirama least wants to see. The Ninja World War swept across the ninja world, and the scale of the Ninja World War was getting bigger and bigger. 10-year-old children had to hold swords and step onto the battlefield, just like Uchiha Mingjing 2 years ago. Wah wah, Uchiha mirror. Come to Shaoshiba Mountain next to you. There are ghosts attacking the mountain people, In midair, Matsuchiro, who flew back to the base after Mingjing completed his mission, appeared again in midair at some point. Shaochaishan, it's the mountain where Tokido's family lives. What you just said is right. Ubuyashiki Amane stared at the mountains not far away with an ugly expression on her face. She specially arranged for a few crows to pay attention to the Shido family. If there was a ghost attack there, the news would be spread quickly. I'll set off first, Matsuchiro, come down and lead the way. Mingjing said lightly, and then took Matsuchiro, who landed on his shoulders, to activate the teleportation technique and leave. When Ubuyashiki Amane heard the sound and turned his head, Mingjing had already disappeared from sight. Hopefully, it's still not too late. Ubuyashiki Amane gritted her silver teeth, held the Nichiren sword and followed. Boom, 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 the wooden door of the hut was banged and crumbled. Hurry, open the door quickly, let me eat you. I want to eat so much. Beast-like roars mixed with hoarse and violent voices came from outside the door. Tokiro Ichiro suppressed the fear in his heart and held the axe he usually used to chop wood. This is their only weapon that can bring them a sense of security. Now, Tokito Ichiro only has regrets in his heart, very regrets. What that woman said about the original swordsman and the man-eating ghost was actually true. At that time, the woman asked the two of her to join the Demon Slayer squad, but Ichiro's only answer was rejection. But now, the cannibal is really here. Ichiro thought it didn't matter if he died, but he still had his younger brother Muichiro. If it weren't for him rejecting that woman, Muichiro would definitely be safe now. Ichiro took a deep breath, forced himself to calm down, and looked at his younger brother Muichiro Tokiro behind him. Muichiro, don't be afraid. If the door is knocked open by a ghost later, I will stop the ghost. All you have to do is run out the door. Ichiro has decided to sacrifice himself in exchange for a chance for his brother to survive. But, Nissan, you will only become a burden to me if you stay. Without you being a drag, I can escape better. You understand. Me, Muichiro stuttered and was speechless. Just when Ichiro was about to reprimand him, the next moment, the weak wooden door collapsed, and a naked ghost with bulging eyes rushed in with teeth and claws. Muichiro, run! Ichiro shouted loudly and struck with an axe. Then the next second, the axe was knocked away. Run, you idiot! Seeing Muichiro with tears in his eyes and almost being frightened, Ichiro forced the ghost to prevent him from getting close to Muichiro. But to ghosts, it's all the same. Ah! Blood spattered, and the hungry ghost had already bitten Muichiro's shoulder, tearing off a piece of flesh. Just when Tokido Ichiro felt despair, a bright fire flashed through the room so fast that it almost formed a straight line formed by the fire shadow. Breath of Fire 1 Type Shiranui. The sound of the sun sword being sheathed and the sound of the ghost's head falling to the ground sounded at the same time. The ghost that had just caused people to despair has now turned into ashes and disappeared. Tokido's family, Ming Jing asked as he looked at the two identical twins in front of him. Ichiro held his injured shoulder, nodded silently, and opened his mouth, not knowing what to say. Even during the day, he said so many outrageous things to the woman from the Demon Slayer squad. Take your hands away. Ming Jing looked at Ichiro's injured shoulder, his tone unquestionable. Ichiro, who was shocked by Ming Jing's momentum, had no choice but to do so. A bright green light flashed in Ming Jing's hand and pressed on Ichiro's shoulder. Under the influence of the hemostasis technique, Ichiro's injury was quickly brought under control. Should you follow me down the mountain on your own, or should I tie you down? We'll follow you down the mountain. Tokido Ichiro looked at the young man in front of him who looked to be about the same age as him, and decisively chose to follow his heart. He was really scared. Muichiro stood blankly in the corner watching this scene, with tears hanging from the corners of his eyes that he had not had time to wipe away. Halfway up the mountain, Ubuyashiki Amane carried the Nichiren sword and rushed to the mountain anxiously. From a distance, you can see Ming Jing on the mountain road ahead, holding a makeshift torch and leading a pair of twin boys down the mountain. Ubuyashiki Amane couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. That's great that you're okay. Then, she quickly noticed the blood stains on Ichiro's body. Are you injured? Let's stop the bleeding first and then go on our way. No need, I have already used the secret technique of ninja to treat his injuries. Without waiting for Toru Ichiro to answer, Ming Jing took over the conversation, and then his expression was stunned, indicating that he was receiving some information. After recovering, he quickly delivered the torch in his hand to Ubuyashiki Amane's hand. Senior Tinian, I still have something to do, so the two of them will ask you to take them back first. Do you have other tasks? Ubuyashiki Amane asked curiously. She didn't hear the sound of the crow. It's something more important than the mission. Ming Jing paused, then continued. It's a very important thing. Maybe it's related to the breathing method of the ancestors that you told me about in the town before. Ubuyashiki Amane's face became solemn. Will it be dangerous? If it doesn't snow, what does it have to do with snow? Ubuyashiki Amane didn't understand, but still nodded and took the torch. If it's really dangerous for Ming Jing, who is stronger than most pillars, then it's not something she can intervene with. All she can do is to bring the brothers Tokido back to the Demon Slayer Corps first, and then inform her husband Ubuyashiki Yoya of this matter and let him make arrangements. Ming Jing's figure disappeared in an instant. Ichiro stared at Ming Jing's figure disappearing like a ghost in amazement, and turned his head stiffly to look at Ubuyashiki Amane. How did he become so powerful? He looks about the same age as me. Ubuyashiki Amane smiled slightly. She didn't have a very specific understanding of Ming Jing's strength, but she knew that when Ming Jing joined the Demon Slayer Corps, Ubuyashiki Yoya told her that the Demon Slayer Corps would soon have another powerful pillar. He should be able to become a pillar soon. Pillar. The pillars are the strongest fighting force of the Demon Slayer Corps, and each of them is a strong man who has killed countless powerful demons. Yuichiro stared at the direction where Ming Jing disappeared, and a thought flashed through his mind. If I could become a pillar, would I be able to protect Muichiro? Whoosh! A ninja weapon stepped on the branch, stepped on it, and quickly disappeared from the place, leaving only the branch that was still shaking in place. Uchiha Ming Jing's figure quickly shuttled through the mountains and forests. Just now, the shadow clone he sent out dissipated and sent back the news that the Kamado family had been found. Now, Ming Jing took advantage of the darkness and set off quickly, because it was already winter. Is it going to snow? The sky was dawning, and a few snowflakes were falling from the sky. I don't know if it's today that Wuhan came to find the Kamado family, but no matter what, we have to go down the mountain before dark to avoid encountering Wuhan. Little bits of fine snow fell on the tips of his hair, and Ming Jing's speed became faster as his mind turned. He was not sure that he could defeat Wuhan in the dark. Even if he could cut off Wuhan's head, he would still be able to recover quickly. Unless he can be like Jigyu Enichi, who can cut more than 1,000 swords in an instant. Ta, ta, ta. The heavy moccasin boots dug into the snow and were pulled out again and again, leaving traces of footprints. Tanjiro, who was carrying a backpack and saying goodbye to his family, planning to go out to sell carbon, saw the Uchiha mirror emerging from the forest. The tip of his nose moved slightly, and Tanjiro could not smell the smell of malice from anyone else. He was born with a special sense of smell, and he could smell it with his nose, whether it was taste, a person's emotions, or even flaws in fighting the enemy. It's outrageous, but it's true. Isn't it just dawn? And it's still snowing heavily. How could someone come to the mountains alone? Tanjiro's mother Aoida looked at the visitor curiously. He was a very handsome young man with handsome features and piercing eyes. He was wearing a gorgeous blue and black feather fabric. Under the brown and black long coat, he wore a thick cotton coat suitable for this season. He should have come from a wealthy family, depending on his age. It's not much older than his own child Tanjiro. Son, why are you here alone? Are you separated from your family? Why don't you go inside and wait until the snow stops, and then I can help you find out about your family? Kuiji walked up to Ming Jing enthusiastically, stretched out his hand and invited. This is not a ninja world, and Ming Jing's appearance is very deceiving. Excuse me, is this the location of Kamado's family? I'm Uchiha Ming Jing, here to visit the successor of Kagura, the god of fire. Ming Jing asked politely. Aoi Kai looked at Tanjiro in surprise, and then said, Kagura, the god of fire, is a dance passed down from generation to generation by the men of the Kamado family. However, my husband Tanjiro passed away last winter, and the current successor is my eldest son Tanjiro. How about we go inside and talk? Quote. Before Ming Jing could answer, Tanjiro spoke first. But mother, I have to go down the mountain to sell charcoal to make money to buy rice. Otherwise, the rice left at home won't last for a few days. Tanjiro, it's okay. It's snowing so hard now, so no one will go out to buy carbon. It won't be a problem in one morning. Kuiji stroked the red hair of his eldest son, his face full of love. I wonder how much money Mr. Tanjiro usually makes from selling charcoal in a day. Is this enough? Ming Jing took out a handful of silver dollars from his wallet. Although most of the members of the Demon Slayer Corps kill ghosts on their own initiative, the Uyashiki family has been in business for thousands of years in this country and is also a wealthy owner. Every swordsman in the Demon Slayer Corps sacrifices his or her life to hunt and kill. The benefits provided by the Ubuyashiki family are also very high. No need, let's go inside first. There's too much wind and snow outside, so don't freeze yourself. Kuiji held Ming Jing with one hand and Tanjiro with the other hand and walked towards the house. Passing through the curious gazes of Tanjiro's 5 younger siblings, the 3 of them arrived at the small living room of this small home. Tanjiro, brother Ming Jing is about the same age as you, so you should come to receive him first, and I'll make tea to entertain the guests. Okay, Mom, thank you, Mrs. Kuiji. Watching his mother leave, Tanjiro quickly closed the door and looked at Uchiha mirror with a solemn expression. Why do you know Kagura, the god of fire? And why do you want to know about it? Although Tanjiro could sense that Ming Jing had no ill intentions, his keen sense of smell could still smell the strong smell of blood on Ming Jing's body. The young man in front of me, who looked not much older than him, turned out to be a man with blood on his hands. Danger. This is the most profound feeling that Der Spiegel gave Tanjiro. Mirror didn't know that Tanjiro had such a keen perception. Because it's important enough that it can save a lot of people. Ming Jing said to Tanjiro with a serious expression. He couldn't just talk about ghosts, swordsmen, breathing techniques and so on. The iron-headed Tanjiro will only believe things he has seen. Even if these things are told, without personal experience, everyone will only regard them as legends. In that case, I will tell you everything I know, but I hope you can leave immediately after the snow stops. Tanjiro was still wary. Mirror doesn't care. Anyway, he had decided that if he couldn't persuade Tanjiro's family to go down the mountain and leave with him before dark, he would knock Tanjiro unconscious and tie him up alive. As long as the iron-headed boy Tanjiro is dealt with, everything else will be easy to handle. The topic gradually got back on track. The Kagura of the God of Fire is a Kagura dance that has been passed down from generation to generation in the Kamado family. It is to express gratitude to the God of Fire for giving us a way to support ourselves, and it is also a dance to pray for peace. There are 12 dance styles in total. Every new year, my father will start from sunset and dance the 12 dance styles of the Kagura dance from sunset to dawn. As Tanjiro stated, he fell into memories. Since Tanjiro used a magical method to kill the giant man-eating bear with an axe with his weak body last year, he has been bedridden. It was also from then on that he, who was only 11 years old, took over the responsibilities of the eldest son in the family, chopping wood and burning charcoal, and helping his mother to support his younger brothers and sisters. But even so, Tanjiro still struggled to get up from the bed at New Year last year and dance the Kagura of the God of Fire in the snow all night. He asked his father why he had to do this even though he was sick, but Tanjiro replied that the Kagura of the God of Fire must be danced until dawn, until the sun rises, and Tanjiro will teach his eldest son the dance form, breathing method and that strange feeling of the Kagura of the God of Fire in his last dance of life. It's just that I'm not as good as my father. The Kagura of the God of Fire consumes a lot of physical strength. I only remember the movements and breathing of the 12 dance forms, but I can't dance them coherently at all. Tanjiro looked at Aoi, who pushed the door open with tea, turned his head and said to Mingjing. According to the tradition of the Kamado family, he should also dance the Kagura of the God of Fire during the New Year this year. However, Kamado Tanjiro died too early. Even if Tanjiro, who was only 12 years old, learned Kagura, the God of Fire, it would be difficult for him to jump completely. It doesn't matter. I hope you can demonstrate it again after a while, Tanjiro. It doesn't matter if the 12 dance styles are separated. I learn things very quickly and I can understand everything at a glance. Well, after the snow stops, I will demonstrate it to you. No, just now. Even the stubborn Tanjiro wouldn't be too stubborn on this kind of thing. Just a quick dance and can come back for a cup of hot tea. Ho, Mr. Mingjing, you should have written it all down, right? On the snow, Tanjiro panted and said to the Uchiha mirror in the distance. He felt that there was something different about Mingjing's eyes. They were red and seemed to glow. Is it an illusion? But is there really anyone who can remember something after reading it once? It is said in the book that there are many great talents who have this ability. Maybe this Mr. Mirror is also that kind of person. Tanjiro, thank you very much. I've written it all down. Mingjing closed his Sharingan, nodded to Tanjiro and replied. Tanjiro divided the 12 dance styles of Fire God Kagura into several sections before stumbling to dance them all. Let's go back to the house. There is something I need to explain to you and Mrs. Kuiji. Tanjiro's expression suddenly became alert. He did not forget that the young man in front of him, who was not much older than himself, had a special smell of blood. It definitely smells like blood after killing many lives. Although I don't know how Mingjing had such an experience at this age, it does not prevent Tanjiro from feeling that Mingjing is dangerous. Oni-chan, brother Mingjing, please come in quickly after dancing to Fire God Kagura. Mother said that if you don't drink tea, it will get cold. Kamado Miduzi stood beside the door and shouted loudly to the two people outside the window. 10 minutes later. What the hell, breath of the sun or something like that. There are no ghosts in this world. Fire God Kagura is the Fire God Kagura passed down from generation to generation in the Kamado family. It's not breath of the sun. We can't do it because of you. If you say this, I will leave home and move down the mountain with you. Tanjiro looked at Uchiha mirror and said firmly. Mrs. Kuiji stood aside blankly, not only worried that Tanjiro and Mingjing would conflict, but also worried that Mingjing's brain would be frostbitten and talk nonsense. Uchiha Mingjing poured himself a cup of hot tea, took a comfortable sip, and smashed his mouth. It's okay, Tanjiro, I'm just informing you, not asking for your opinion. What do you mean? Tanjiro felt that Uchiha Mingjing was really a bad guy, so he secretly moved towards the axe in the corner. He remembered that the man in front of him had a knife. Of course that's what it means. Ming Jing's figure flashed behind Tanjiro in an instant, held the handle of the knife behind his back, and struck Tanjiro on the back of the head. Ouch! Tanjiro yelled, stretched out his hand to cover Kibao's head, turned his head and glared at Ming Jing. The head is indeed as hard as iron. Let's use illusion. Ming Jing sighed at the hardness of Tanjiro's head, so he opened his Sharingan and looked at each other. Tanjiro was instantly knocked unconscious by the genjutsu. Kuiji was so frightened that he was about to scream on the spot, but Ming Jing covered his mouth. Mrs. Kuiji, you don't want your family to be harmed, right? You'd better come down the mountain with me obediently. Kuiji originally planned to wait until they got down the mountain and shout loudly for someone to rescue them when they reached the town. But unexpectedly, soon a few people wrapped up tightly drove a cart to the mountain to help them pack their luggage. Although Ming Jing is not a pillar yet, no one does not treat him as a pillar, and he basically enjoys all the rights of a pillar. In terms of strength, he has already proven himself in battles with several pillars. In terms of performance and contribution, he has already killed more than 40 ghosts, and it is only a matter of time before he reaches 50 and becomes a pillar. Along with it, there was a girl who looked as beautiful as a butterfly. Ming Jingjun, I heard from Master Tianyan that you have found the person who inherited the initial breathing method this time. Is it this family? The butterfly ninja used his beautiful purple eyes to look at the Kamado family in the distance who were carrying luggage with several hidden people. Well, perhaps because other swordsmen who inherited the breath of the sun method were exterminated in history, the ancestors of the Kamado family evolved the breath of the sun into a dance to pray for peace to the god of fire, called Fire Kamikagura. The boy I knocked unconscious is one of the only successors to the current god of fire, Kamado Tanjiro, the eldest son of the Kamado family. A flash of understanding flashed in Butterfly Ninja's eyes. No wonder this family has a weak constitution and doesn't look like they know how to breathe. But, and Tanjiro, why is he? Ming Jing touched his nose to hide his embarrassment. The only second one is, of course, because the other person is me. After watching Tanjiro's demonstration of Fire God Kagura, I almost memorized it. As for Tanjiro, this kid is very stubborn, and I also, if I'm not very good at convincing others with reason, I can only use physics to persuade. Several black lines were drawn on Butterfly Ninja's forehead. No wonder she looked over here from time to time when she saw Aoi, her movements were full of vigilance. Forget it, I'll go talk to the Kamado family. For this kind of situation, Shinobu Kocho has long been accustomed to it. There are few normal people among the group of pillars of the Demon Slayer Corps. If it were Gyu Tomioka and Miya Fushigawa, it would be even worse. Tengen Uzui, like Ming Jing, still uses the high-efficiency method of ninjas when doing many things. Moshi Moshi, Madame Aoi, I am Shinobu Kocho, Ming Jing's colleague. Ming Jing is only a child of 12 or 13 years old. Because of his previous experience, he doesn't get along with people very well. I apologize to you on his behalf. Shinobu Kocho walked to Madame Aoi and bowed lightly to apologize. Shinobu Kocho's emotional intelligence is obviously very high, and the gentle smile on her face can also make people feel at ease. Although Aoi had doubts about breathing methods and ghosts, she also believed in the conversation with Shinobu Kocho that they would not be bad people who wanted to harm them. Master Ming Jing. After packing up, a yin came to Ming Jing at a trot. Everything is arranged, it's time to go. Ming Jing nodded gently. We must hurry up and send this family down the mountain before dark to avoid attacks by ghosts. Hey, although he thought that with the presence of two pillars here, he could deal with ghost attacks, but considering that he might be worried about ordinary people like the Kamado family, Yin still quickly stood at attention and responded. When the carriage carried everyone back to the butterfly house, the snow was still falling. It didn't stop until another day and night passed. Wah, what, are those ghosts in the story about the ghost-killing swordsman true? Tanjiro held the broom and shouted to Muichiro next to him in surprise. Well, some time ago, a white-haired, very beautiful woman came to my house and told my brother and I that we were descendants of the original swordsman. My brother drove her away, but I heard that they left some means to monitor us and saved us when we encountered a ghost. The one who saved us was the guy with the fan pattern painted on his body who brought you back. Muichiro swept away the snow and answered dully. Is that guy actually so powerful? Well, at that time, my brother Ichiro had been bitten by a ghost. Later, the little brother named Ming Jing appeared and killed the ghost with a knife that caught fire. The sword that can catch fire is related to the god of fire Kagura. No wonder they say that the god of fire Kagura is the initial breathing method. Is this initial breathing method also related to the initial swordsman of your family? Tanjiro quickly connected everything together. Then I don't know, but I heard them say that the guy named Ming Jing is one of the most powerful people here, just like those pillars and so on. Zoo, is that the white-haired guy in the yard who is very fierce and yelling? Tanjiro glanced into the room curiously. Hey, with your thin body, don't even think about learning any breathing techniques from me. Immortal Sakawa Sanya looked at Tokiro Ichiro angrily. This guy has such a stubborn character. No, I want to learn. Why are you learning it? Once I learn the ancestral breathing method, I will definitely be able to kill all the ghosts. I want to learn to protect my brother. Tokito Ichiro is obsessed with the immortal Kawasania. He had heard from those people that the irritable guy in front of him was a very powerful pillar. Even that Uchiha mirror is still a little short of becoming a pillar, so this guy must be even more powerful. He wants to learn something great. Immortal Kawasania raised his eyebrows. He is also a brother controller, and has always been unwilling to let his younger brother join the Demon Slayer squad and risk his life to fight ghosts. Protect your brother. Okay, if you don't know the basics, I'll teach you how to hold a sword and swing it first. If you can't complete 1,000 Susan within today, you don't deserve to learn from me. Immortal Kawasania cursed, but still threw a bamboo sword to Ichiro and taught him the basic kendo postures step by step. I will only teach you once, and I may come back to check at any time. You'd better not be caught slacking off. He confessed fiercely and turned to leave. The news about the discovery of the descendant of the original swordsman and the successor of the ancestors' breathing method has spread. For this reason, Uyashiki Yoshia convened the half-yearly Hashira meeting in advance. Demon Slayer Squad, Headquarters. Ming Jing and all the current pillars of the Demon Slayer Corps arrived at the scene. Ubuyashiki Yoshia was very excited after learning about the ancestral breathing technique and waited at the scene early. Tomioka Gyu looked at everyone present with a frozen expression. Immortal Kawasania hasn't arrived yet, and everyone else seems to be the same as before. The only change is the addition of a newcomer, Uchiha Mingjing. When he saw Kawasania, who had arrived late because he was teaching Ichiro, Tomioka Gyu suddenly remembered the experience of the last Hashira meeting. How did Fusukawa Sanya warmly welcome the newcomers at that time? I remember, this should be the Zuhei meeting, right? Tomioka Gyu suddenly spoke, attracting curious crowds. Then why are there guys who are not Zu here? Tomioka Gyu pointed his finger at Uchiha mirror. He remembered that Immortal Kawasania warmly welcomed Purgatory Anjiro and encouraged the latter to become a pillar as soon as possible. Ming Jing was stunned. He knows that Tomioka Gyu has a cold personality and is not good at words, but there is no need to target him like this, right? Immortal Kawasania and Purgatory Anjiro only felt that this scene seemed familiar. Hey, I'm talking about Yiyang. I think it shouldn't be a problem for Mingjing to stay here, right? Even if it's not Zu, there's no difference anymore, let alone the current Zu. I don't think anyone except Bei Mingyu is Mingjing's opponent, right? Yusui Tianyuan looked at Tomioka Gyu very puzzledly. That's you, I'm different from you. Tomioka Gyu shook his head. What he meant was that he had indeed not played against Ming Jing. Even though he knew that he would most likely not be able to beat Ming Jing, in his opinion, they were all teammates who killed ghosts, so there was no need to compare. All the pillars looked a little ugly. What makes you, Tomioka Gyu, different from us? You look down on us, right? Tomioka Gyu, you just used this method to laugh at me, right? Immortal Sakawa Sanya finally remembered where this familiar feeling came from, and shouted angrily, while drawing his sword to block Tomioka Gyu. On the other side, Snake Pillar Iguro Kobanai also stood up silently, blocking Gyu's retreat, and surrounded Tomioka Gyu along with Immortal Kawasania. Tomioka Gyu looked at Immortal Sakawa Sanya in confusion, but he was also used to the latter's irritable character. Ahem, okay, everyone, sit down. Uyashiki Yaoya, who had arrived late, felt a little tired when he saw this scene. The Demon Slayer squad is capable of producing many people, but this also means that these people are too individual, and things can easily go wrong if you don't keep an eye on them. The main business this time is the initial breathing method that Ming Jing brought back. Ming Jing, I heard that you have learned the initial breathing method. Can you tell us in detail? Faced with Ubuya Shiki Yaoya's words, Ming Jing did not admit it. You should also know that I have learned a lot of breathing techniques, so I can also discover some things that others have not noticed based on these. For example, the 5 basic breathing styles can complement each other. About this one thing can be seen from the fact that many of the branched breathing methods derived from the past were created by predecessors who introduced other breathing methods on the basis of one breathing school. So, I was thinking, if all 5 breathing methods are integrated, will it form a breathing method that has the advantages of all breathing methods? Or, in other words, the 5 basic breathing methods are originally from an original breathing method, derived from breathing techniques. In this regard, I asked Xingshoulang to help me look up the records related to the ancestors' breathing method. It happened that the Yanju lineage has never been cut off and has the longest history. Finally, I successfully discovered the breath of the sun in the classics, that is, the breath of the sun. Clues of the ancestors' breathing method. Der Spiegel continued. In the end, when I was on a mission to kill ghosts, I searched all the way and finally successfully found the descendant of Kagura, the god of fire, who evolved from the breath of the sun. Xingshoulang nodded crazily and said loudly, "That's right. It was after my brother Qianzhiro consulted many ancient classics that he discovered that there is such a kind of breath of the sun." Breath of the sun, a breathing method that has all the advantages of breathing methods in a gorgeous way. Yusui Tianyuan rubbed his chin and thought, and found that the breathing methods seemed to be complementary, just like his sound breathing combined the speed of thunder breathing and the large-scale attack of wind breathing. Namo Amitabha, that's great. If you can master this breathing method, you will definitely save a lot of people from dying. Mingyu Xingming put his palms together and burst into tears. The statement that all breathing methods have the advantages is a bit absolute, but it is not too exaggerated. Each breathing method has its own focus. In my opinion, after hundreds of years of development, every breathing method has its own advantages. All breathing methods have reached the optimal level in their respective fields, but sun breathing is still the breathing method with the strongest comprehensive attributes and the most lethality against ghosts. Mirror is very sure that sun breathing is indeed stronger than all other breathing methods. Then what are you waiting for? Let Ming Jing and that brat teach us the breath of the sun. I can't wait to chop off Wu Mei's head. Immortal Sakawa Sania stood up excitedly and was about to take Ming Jing to learn the breathing of the sun. Immortal River, you better not get too happy too soon, there is a high probability that you won't be able to learn. Tomioka Yoshiyuki threw another basin of cold water. Hey, what do you mean, you guy? Immortal Sakawa Sania is really ready to draw his sword on Tomioka Gyu this time. I'm telling the truth. There is a high probability that sun breathing is a breathing method that almost everyone can't learn. Otherwise, there wouldn't be 5 basic breathing methods. Wouldn't everyone learn sun breathing? Quote. Tomioka Yoshiyuki's words rarely convinced everyone. Ming Jing also nodded along. In fact, all I have learned is Kagura, the god of fire, which is the breathing rhythm and sword shape of the breath of the sun. There is still a long way to go before I can use the breath of the sun. I can only be regarded as using the breath of fire. At the same time, it is just combined with the skill of breathing of the sun, but even so, the power is still much stronger. Quote. But even if you fail to learn it, there is no need to worry. The breath of the sun is the ancestor of every breathing method after all. Even if you fail to learn it, you can still learn from its exquisite sword moves and breathing to improve your own strength. Ming Jing was actually quite unhappy that he was only half-assed about his sun breathing, but he could understand it. Mastering sun breathing is extremely difficult. Apart from Enichi Sukuni, only the father and son of the Kamado family are known to be able to learn it. Among the others, even Iwa Sukuni, who was second only to Enichi Sukuni at the time, Katsuya failed to learn it and could only develop a simplified version of moon breath. However, the Hashira here are all the most powerful and talented swordsmen of this era. They are the ones most likely to learn the breath of the sun besides Tanjiro. If any of them can learn the breath of the sun, they can use the Sharingan to copy it. If not, then train Tanjiro hard so that he can master the ancestral breath of the sun as soon as possible, so that Ming Jing still has someone to copy. But no matter what, you should try it anyway. Every pillar has great enthusiasm for practicing the breath of the sun, and they all hope that they can learn the breath of the sun and cut off the heads of Wuhan or other evil ghosts. Time passes like this little by little. Konoha, the land of the Uchiha clan. Mirror home. With a flash of blue-purple light, Uchiha Mingjing's figure appeared out of thin air on the bed at home. The shadow clone that was originally staying on the opposite side also automatically released it after seeing the bright mirror, and transferred its memory back to the main body. Retreat is not isolation from the world. Although he usually leaves a shadow clone in the ninja world as a cover, Mingjing will return to the ninja world every once in a while to learn about current events and prevent others from thinking that he is missing. At least, his shadow clone can only last for a certain period of time. After a few days, the chakra inside is used up, and he still has to come back to divide another chakra. Recently, so many things have happened. After a long while, after receiving the memory, Mingjing opened his eyes and walked towards the table. Kakashi entered school, the third eldest son retired, Hitaki Sakumo committed suicide, and Mingjing picked up an invitation on the table with a big birthday written on the cover. How could Master Dan and Tsunade-sama be progressing so fast? They are already getting married. The wedding is in 2 days. Mingjing planned to temporarily leave the country at this time, visit Uchiha Yu, and then visit Uchiha Fugaku, and then see if there was any chance to get together with 2 teammates or something. He took off his Demon Slayer uniform and put on his usual clothes, but he didn't take off his haori. This thing is still very handsome, and it can also be used to hide his movements during battle. The matter between Kato-dan and Tsunade is obviously the most topical event in Konoha in the near future. As soon as you go out, you can hear people talking about it no matter where you go. A village grass, a village beauty, both of them are famous top experts in the village. Tsunade-hime is even the granddaughter of the first Hokage. This matter cannot fail to attract attention. The village also needs a happy event that can attract everyone's attention, so that it can wash away the haze of years of war and Konoha White Fang's suicide, so it also adds fuel to the fire. Grandpa Yu. In Uchiha Yu's home, Mingjing sat respectfully on the tatami, pouring tea for Uchiha Yu across from him. HMPH, they are all special Junin who have opened the 3 Magatama Sharingan. To adapt to the 3 Magatama Sharingan, why not just come to me for advice? When I was young, I was second only to Madara-sama in the clan. Izuna-sama is the top master of illusion, ninjutsu, and swordsmanship in the clan, and I don't know anything about it. Uchiha Yu took the teacup, looking a little dissatisfied. Mingjing knew that this was the old man complaining that he had not seen him too often recently. Grandpa Yu, in fact, I have been studying ninjutsu and swordsmanship recently, trying to develop a new swordsmanship, so it will take a long time. Mingjing said with a smile. Swordsmanship. What swordsmanship is stronger than the Uchiha-style swordsmanship passed down from our ancestors? Mingjing, don't be too ambitious just because of your talent. Uchiha Yu reprimanded, but still brought Mingjing to the training ground and asked Mingjing to demonstrate to him. Uchiha Yu is over 70 years old and has seen too many talented people. But compared with them, Uchiha Yu believed that the mirror he had trained by himself would never be worse than those of the same period. 12 years old, 3 Magatama Sharingan, Junin level combat power. This is also extremely rare in the history of the entire Uchiha clan for thousands of years. This makes Uchiha Yu even more certain that the strong men who will support the Uchiha clan in the future will be cultivated in his own hands. The 12-year-old Sanmagatama Sharingan represents a high probability of being able to open the kaleidoscope in the future. In the eyes of the Uchiha clan, the bloodstain limit of their Sharingan is the strongest in the ninja world. If one can develop the Sharingan to the highest level, he must be the top powerhouse in the ninja world and be able to protect his family. At least for decades. Even if Mingjing cannot open a kaleidoscope, with his qualifications, it may not be impossible to grow into a shadow-level powerhouse in the traditional ninja way. This made Uchiha Yu pay more attention to Mingjing's growth. In the past, there were no genius ninjas in their teens who invented high-level ninjutsu, but it was often just a ninjutsu, and it most likely had certain restrictions and limitations. But Mingjing wants to create a systematic swordsmanship on his own. The family already has the best swordsmanship inheritance, so why bother? Uchiha Yu didn't want to dampen Ming Jing's enthusiasm, and he also knew that for a young ninja, developing his own ninjutsu and taijutsu was an extremely valuable experience. But if what Der Spiegel brings out cannot gain his approval, he will never let Der Spiegel spend its precious time on something that does not have enough positive effects on its future. Although it is not perfect yet, based on the current power, it should have surpassed the level of ordinary Junin. Ming Jing held the Nichiren sword brought from Demon Slayer world, took a deep breath, and there was a faint white air rising from the corner of his mouth. Natural energy, absorb, chakra, refine, immortal magic chakra, synthesized. Zhang. There was a clear sound of the sword, and the Sun-Lune saber was instantly unsheathed. Breath of Fire 1 type Shiranui. Looking at the sword shown by Ming Jing, Uchiha Yu stroked his beard and nodded slightly. It is worthy of being a family genius cultivated by Uchiha Yu himself. At least the high-speed burst of this move is very good in actual combat. But it's just one move. Breath of Fire type 2 Ascending Blazing Flame. Breath of Flame 3 types all forms of Chi Flame. Uchiha Yu's expression became serious, overturning his previous thoughts. If the child likes it, let him study it on his own. The moves are so exquisite that even if he uses his Sharingan, he can't see any obvious flaws for a while. It's magnificent and capable of both offense and defense. Judging from its power, it has surpassed the level of ordinary Junin. Breath of Fire shape of 4 Shungyun Vortex. Breath of Fire shape of Wu Fire Tiger. Breath of Fire mystery shape of 9 Purgatory. A ball of blazing flames enveloped Ming Jing's whole body, and he stepped forward like a meteor with his sword, bursting out with a violent roar. There was a bang, and the ground cracked. The sound was so shocking that even Uchiha Yu was startled. Could it be that in addition to being a genius in Sharingan and ninjutsu, Uchiha Ming Jing is also a genius in kendo? However, Uchiha Yu also saw some problems, that is, Ming Jing's forward swing before making a move was a little too long. If this time could be shortened, then this swordsmanship would be even more terrifying. Even so, it has good practical significance just from the current point of view. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Uchiha ninjas suddenly sprang out from the surroundings, looking at the long and deep cracks on the ground that had been cut by the mirror in horror. Elder Yu, Ming Jing, what are you? Uchiha Yashura looked at Uchiha Ming Jing, who was holding a knife, in surprise. They were all members of the police force patrolling the clan territory. They were attracted by the huge momentum and thought something had happened in the clan territory. The mark on the ground was clearly made by a powerful swordsman, and the only one holding the sword in the field was Uchiha Ming Jing. Uchiha Yashura was a little unbelievable. Although Ming Jing was the #1 genius in Uchiha with the 3 Magatama Sharingan when he was only 12 years old, is it a bit exaggerated to be able to perform such a technique that far exceeds the level of ordinary Junin at this age? This is the secret of swordsmanship that I left behind when I taught Ming Jing to Jing. As the elder who manages the family treasury, I also gave my unique secret to Ming Jing as part of the family inheritance, and Jing happened to be Ming Jing. My second grandfather, Ming Jing, is also completely talented in learning this powerful swordsmanship, so I specially taught it to him. Uchiha Yu interrupted everyone's hearing. A flash of understanding flashed in Uchiha Yashura's eyes. That makes sense. Uchiha Mirror is the most famous and powerful Uchiha after Madara and Izuna. It would make sense if it was his inheritance. But I didn't expect that Mr. Uchiha Yu would still be so powerful at this age. In this case, let's take our leave first, Elder Yu. Uchiha Yashura nodded to Uchiha Yu, the patriarch of the clan, and then looked at Uchiha Mirror and warned. Ming Jing, as the most outstanding genius in the clan, you will be the one who will be responsible for revitalizing the clan's reputation in the future. You must not let down Elder Yu's painstaking efforts. You don't need to discipline the heirs I trained. Uchiha Yu drove the group away angrily. Elder Yu's heir. Before leaving the training ground, Uchiha Yashura glanced at Ming Jing again. Judging from the talent Ming Jing has shown so far, he will definitely grow into a powerful Uchiha Jonin in the future, and there is even a high probability that he will turn the title of the first genius into the first master. If he inherits Uchiha Yu's political influence in the clan in the future, it may not matter if he wants to grab the position of clan leader. Considering the close relationship between Ming Jing and Uchiha Fugaku, in the future, Uchiha Fugaku's line will have both the strength of the clan leader and the first master of Uchiha, plus Fugaku himself is also very powerful, and his momentum will definitely be considerable. In another 10 years, Ming Jing will be in his early 20s, and Fugaku will just enter his prime. And those elders who are still fighting for power have begun to gradually slide from the peak. It seems that I have to consider my side as soon as possible. Watching the disappearance of Uchiha Yashura and others, Uchiha Yu turned his head and looked at Ming Jing, his old face full of seriousness. Do you know why I said that just now? A tree that stands out in the forest will be destroyed by the wind. I am already dazzling enough now. If I continue to be dazzling, I am afraid that more and more people will target me. Chapter 91. A smile flashed across Uchiha Yu's face, but he quickly restrained it. I was not all talking nonsense just now. In fact, I do intend to hand over the mirror teleportation body that I developed back then to you. As Uchiha Yu said this, he took out a ninjutsu scroll from his arms. Mirror instant, Ming Jing took the scroll with some curiosity in his eyes. Although I am not very willing to admit it, after Izuna-sama died in the battle, the evil Senju Old Ghost in Senju Tobarama was indeed the strongest man in that era after the first generation in Madara. Under his guidance, Kagami was indeed. I learned some real lessons from him. Uchiha Yu crossed his arms and said with memories. Among the disciples of the second generation, Jing is the most likely genius to learn the art of Flying Thunder God. However, it is a pity that even he could not fully master the art of Flying Thunder God, so he added the art of clone according to the principles of Flying Thunder God. And the genjutsu of the Uchiha clan created this ninjutsu that is as difficult as S level. Uchiha Yu motioned to Ming Jing to open the scroll and began to explain in detail. The main principle of Flying Thunder God is to improve and combine the art of channeling and counter-channeling, and stably control it through the sealing technique to form a sealing technique that can move instantaneously. It requires learners to not only have the ability to sense space, you must also have excellent sealing skills. Although the mirror clone is not a Flying Thunder God, it is not bad at all in terms of practicality. And being able to learn the mirror clone means that you have a certain possibility of learning the Flying Thunder God. It is extremely difficult to achieve precise perception of space out of thin air, but if you want to perceive the existence of a clone, it is much simpler. This will also reduce the requirements for sealing to a certain extent. Therefore, if you want to learn to mirror the clone, you must learn the mirror clone developed by mirror, and integrate the techniques of channeling and counter-channeling into the clone, which can allow the main body to instantly channel the clone's position during battle, and replace the clone in the battle. Each clone formed in this form may be a virtual body, or it may be an effective entity. Some people know how scary the Sharingan is, but if you create multiple clones to cover all aspects, each pair of Sharingan can be real, and you can even create shadow clones and mix them with the main body for multiple times. The physical attack, coupled with the powerful insight of the Sharingan, is hard to guard against. Quote. Thinking of this, Uchiha Yu felt a little excited. If Ming Jing can learn mirror teleportation, coupled with his own foundation, and the terrifying swordsmanship talent he just showed, in a few more years of growth, he will be able to fight even against masters of Ying's level. If the Mangekyo Sharingan is turned on again. As for the position of Hokage, it's his turn for the Uchiha clan to take the position. Ming Jing looked at the ninjutsu scroll in his hand and couldn't put it down. He sat down and read it carefully on the spot. If you can learn this thing, you will be strong enough to advance to the next level, and there will be nothing to be afraid of even if you are not miserable. Looking at Ming Jing's appearance, a somewhat peaceful smile appeared on Uchiha Yu's old face. Alright, Ming Jing, you will first learn some basics of sealing techniques from me. Although Jing Shunshin's requirements for sealing techniques are not as high as those of Fei Lei Shen, they are not something you can learn now. At least you must learn Yuji with me first. As for the wave fire formation, if you want to continue to improve in the future, you can go to your master, Tsunade. Although her sealing technique is not as good as Uzumaki Kushina, she definitely got the true inheritance of Uzumaki Mido. Quote. Uchiha Yu patted Ming Jing's shoulder and signaled. He now has no objection to Ming Jing studying any new ninjutsu or swordsmanship, but he still plans to teach others what he has mastered. After all, this is his heir. What happened on the Uchiha clan's training ground soon reached the ears of those who were interested. Especially the power of Ming Jing's last move, it was impossible not to attract others' attention. After Uchiha Fugaku learned about it, He went to the door in person to have a good exchange of feelings with Ming Jing and Uchiha Yu. Now many people know that although the elder of the Uchiha family, Uchiha Yu, is old, he still has a powerful strength that far exceeds that of an ordinary Junin. He is even more powerful than when he was young. It is even more and more outrageous. Uchiha Yu was blown up to be a top expert almost at the level of Kage. HMPH. Look, the Uchiha clan actually hides such a master. I thought that this old guy Uchiha Yu was too old to walk. Now it seems that he is hiding his strength and wants to achieve something. Hidden purpose. Danzo slapped the information in his hand onto Sarutobi Hiruzen's desk. Okay, Danzo, I have also seen Uchiha Yu's performance on the battlefield. Although he is indeed very strong, he is far from that point. Sarutobi Hiruzen smoked his pipe and waved his hands indifferently. He had just used the telescope technique with a crystal ball to relax his mind, and his current state of mind was very peaceful and Buddhist. Hokage-sama is busy at work and under so much pressure, so he still has to have necessary leisure and entertainment. Sarutobi Bawako is now at the age where he can absorb dirt while sitting on the ground. He, Sarutobi Hiruzen, is no match even if he is known as a ninja hero, so he just plays for fun, otherwise he will not have the energy to deal with official duties. Besides, your intelligence also mentioned that according to the traces left at the scene, it is probably a combination of swordsmanship and fire escape. At his age, how many times has Uchiha Yu been able to use this kind of attack? Danzo was obviously dissatisfied with Hiruzen Sarutobi's attitude. However, Uchiha Yu was not the main purpose of his visit today, it was just a means to lead to subsequent topics. Uchiha Yu is not young, but what about the others? Shimura Danzo took out a document with a mirror photo and slapped it on the table. Hiruzen, this brat is very dangerous. He has the Sharingan of the three Magatama when he was only 12 years old, and has the combat power of a Junin. According to the information detected by the Root Ninja, Uchiha Yu has been treating him as his heir. Come to train him, and he is very close to the clan leader, Uchiha Fugaku. Sarutobi Hiruzen put down his pipe, casually took the document and read it. He was actually very concerned about the situation of the Uchiha clan, and had heard about Mingjing for a long time. Tsunade and Kato Dan also mentioned this young junior in front of him, thinking that he was a rare Uchiha who inherited the will of fire. Danzo Shimura's words continued. Hiruzen, according to me, it is best for such a threat to enter the root and be controlled by me personally. Okay, Danzo, it's impossible to join the root, and the Uchiha clan won't agree. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Mingjing's identity file and nodded with satisfaction. So he is the nephew of Jing, no wonder, it seems that his will of fire should also be inherited from Jing. It's because the Uchiha clan won't agree that we have to do this. Hiruzen, the mission of the root is to deal with all the existences that threaten the village. Uchiha is the biggest problem in the village now, and this kid, with his talent, will definitely be an important support for the Uchiha clan to threaten the village in the future. It means that this kid has high talent and also has the will of fire. The third generation showed an expression that everything is under control. Otherwise, how can he use the will of fire to fool, influence this kid, take him as his own, and then use him to split the Uchiha clan? At least, the Uchiha clan can't be united. As for the fact that Uchiha Mingjing and Fugaku are close, it doesn't matter. Sarutobi Hiruzen is best at using the will of fire to fool people. Danzo, Mingjing is Dan's disciple. I have other arrangements for him. If Tobirama-sensei could accept Jing, I can also accept this kid. Sarutobi Hiruzen took a comfortable breath. Senju Tobirama could accept Uchiha, but if he couldn't, wouldn't it mean that he was not as good as the second generation? Hiruzen, I said that this kid is definitely a big threat. How can you let it go so easily? Shimura Danzo still refused to give up. Danzo, I also said that I have my own considerations for the arrangement of this kid. Sarutobi Hiruzen's tone gradually became tough. Hiruzen, you will regret it. Danzo, I am the Hokage. Bang. Shimura Danzo slammed the door and walked out, his face full of anger. Sarutobi Hiruzen smiled as he watched Danzo rush out of the house, took a puff of cigarette, and then gradually put away the smile on his face. Danzo's ambition is getting bigger and bigger. After the war, he sent his most trusted disciple Orochimaru to the route as the second in command to check and balance Danzo. But now, Orochimaru has teamed up with Danzo. This is very threatening. Danzo and himself are both second-generation disciples, with a lot of experience. He was also his strongest competitor for the position of Hokage, and he has not given up until now. In the last Ninja World War, Orochimaru first led the 3 ninjas to fight Hanzo, and then took over the command of the Rain Country, leading the Konoha ninja to win the Rain Country battlefield. Finally, as his deputy on the Kumogakure front, he took the trouble to sneak into Kumogakure and assassinated the 8 Tails Jinchuriki, turning the tide of the battle again. It can be said that the Second Ninja World War was won by Orochimaru, who turned the tide. He deserves the credit. Today, after White Fang committed suicide, his prestige is second only to that of the Hokage. Whether Orochimaru supports Danzo or Danzo supports Orochimaru, it has already posed a great threat to his position as the Hokage. But one of these two is his companion since childhood, and the other is his disciple who has been trained by him since childhood. Sarutobi Hiruzen has deep feelings for them. He must not use the means to deal with White Fang to deal with them, so as not to cause tragedy again. It seems that it is time to build another force to balance Orochimaru and Danzo. Sarutobi Hiruzen silently moved his eyes to the other side of the table. There, a wedding invitation with the word, longevity, written on it was quietly placed there. Uchiha Mingjing, is he a disciple of Duan? You can pay attention to whether there are any places that can be used. Under the guidance of Uchiha Yu, Mingjing has already entered some basic sealing techniques. Not only did he understand the basic symbols that make up the sealing techniques, but he also mastered simple sealing techniques such as the one-thread light array. This kind of seal is usually carried out under the enemy's feet, sealing the movements of the person in the center. However, if the effect can only be said to be barely so, if the opponent is a student of a ninja school, it will naturally have a good effect. But if the opponent has a certain strength, even if he has not learned the sealing technique, he may break free by brute force. However, the sealing technique is like this. Simply entering the door is actually not very useful. Only by practicing it to a relatively high level can it have a relatively powerful effect. But unfortunately, this thing is really difficult. Not only does it involve complicated calculations, but it also requires sufficiently fine chakra control ability. This makes it difficult for ordinary ninjas to learn, and even for ninjas with certain strength to improve their strength in a short period of time after learning, so there are few people who are willing to study the sealing technique, and even fewer who can learn it well. However, a large ninja village like Konoha still has a strong inheritance of sealing techniques. The Uchiha clan has been passed down for thousands of years, and there are also many masters of sealing techniques, which is more than enough for Mingjing to lay an excellent foundation in sealing techniques. Time passed in the blink of an eye, and soon it was the wedding day. On the street, the flower shop of the Yamanaka clan. Miss Lino, have the wisteria flowers I ordered arrived? Mingjing asked the girl in the flower shop with a decent smile on her face. Ah, yes. Yamanaka Lino's face was filled with a warm smile, and she took out a bunch of wisteria flowers from the counter and handed them to Mingjing. Mingjing, are you also planning to give flowers to Lord Dan and Lady Tsunade as a wedding gift? A young ninja with a blonde hair and a high ponytail and a tough face walked into the door at this time. He first glanced at Yamanaka Rhino, who was standing in front of the counter quietly, and then pretended to be very natural and asked Mingjing. The two of them had teamed up to go to Lulin to perform tasks before. Ah, it's Senior Hiei. Yamanaka Hiei smiled and nodded to Mingjing, then looked at Yamanaka Rhino. That, Lie clan sister, can you give me a bunch of baby's breath? No, or roses. At this moment, Yamanaka Hiei seemed a little embarrassed to Mingjing. The flower language of lily and rose both represent love, and if you send flowers at a wedding, they are both very good choices. Of course, wisteria also represents love, which is also appropriate. After staying in the Demon Slayer Corps for a long time, Mingjing is more familiar with and likes the elegant fragrance of wisteria. Okay, Yamanaka Rhino blushed, neatly packed a roll of roses and handed it to Yamanaka Hiei. Yamanaka Inoichi took it with a silly smile. So naturally, Mingjing and Yamanaka Inoichi came out of the flower shop together and headed for the wedding. The other two members of this generation of Inoshika-cho also met up with Yamanaka Inoichi on the way, and finally the four of them went together. The wedding of Tsunade and Kato-dan was held at the old house of the Senju clan. Well, getting married, women, etc. are really troublesome. Just preparing the gifts takes me a long time to think about. Nara Shikaku said, waving the gift box in his hand. This is a secret medicine specially prepared by the Nara clan. It is said that it can greatly increase the probability of giving birth to offspring. Although, with Tsunade's medical ninjutsu skills, it shouldn't be difficult to have a child or something. Akamichi Dings's gift is a high-end VIP coupon for Akamichi's barbecue restaurant. At the entrance of Senju's old house, Kato-dan and Tsunade, who were the protagonists of this wedding, continued to greet the guests. They are all thoughtful gifts. And Duan, the wisteria flower sent by Mingjing really matches your hair color. Tsunade took the wisteria bouquet, compared it with Kato's broken hair, and put it aside with a smile on her face. Tsunade, do you know what the flower language of wisteria is? What is it? A love that makes people dependent on each other for life and death. Tsunade blushed. Mingjing looked at each other with several of his companions around him. The rank of Mr. Duan Sr. seems a bit high. At this moment, a divine flying eagle landed from the sky in front of Tsunade and Kato-dan. This is. Kato Duan untied the letter box from the talons of the letter eagle and took out a piece of paper with the word, longevity, written on it. Jiraiya is still in the land of rain. He didn't have time to come back, so he asked Minato to help send the congratulatory gift. This birthday is his heartfelt wish. This guy Jiraiya, it's true. After washing hands and gargling mouth, you can clearly see that the Senju old house, which used to be cold in the past, is now very lively. Dingjing. This way. The voice of the Inuzuka dog came from far away. Most of the people there were relatives and friends of Kato-dan and Tsunade. The Kato clan is a small family with few people, and the Senju clan is also withering now. In fact, a large part of the family and friends group are subordinates and comrades who are close to the two, or they are masters and apprentices. The only ones who are really related by blood are Kato-dan's niece, Kato Shizune, and Uzumaki Kushina, who was born in the same clan as Tsunade's grandmother, Uzumaki Mito. Ding-jing. Long time no see. Namikaze Minato held Kushina's hand and greeted Mingjing with a smile. Minato, it seems that the wedding wine you and Kushina will have to drink in a few years will be yours. Looking at the appearance of Namikaze Minato and Kushina, Mingjing couldn't help but tease. Minato scratched his head in embarrassment, but Kushina looked calm and generous. You are Mingjing. As expected of a member of Makoto's tribe, you are really good looking. But before Minato and I have a wedding wine, we should be able to drink the wedding wine of your clan leader and Makoto first. Kushina smiled and patted Mingjing on the shoulder. Kushina is right. When the new year passes, I will be engaged to Makoto. Mingjing, as my future right-hand man, you must come. Uchiha Fugaku held Uchiha Makoto's hand and also walked here. As one of the top experts in Konoha, Uchiha Fugaku had fought with Tsunade Kato Danzuki before in the Land of Rain. It was reasonable for him to come to this corner as a comrade. Definitely, Chief Fugaku. Mingjing smiled and nodded to the patriarch and the future patriarch's wife. Inuzuka sat in his seat and looked left, right, and then at Aburame Nami beside him. Nami, have you discovered something? Aburame Nami didn't answer, she just tilted her head and looked at Inuzuka curiously. You said that in this family and friends group, it seems that except for us two Chunin, everyone else here seems to be either a Junin or a special Junin. Do you think we won't get along well if we stay here? Won't. Aburame Nami shook her head slightly and pointed to the two little bean sprouts dressed as flower girls on the other side. They haven't even gone to ninja school yet, so we're not the lowest level ninja here. Inuzuka looked strange. Shizune Kato and Asuma Sarutobi. The former is Kato-dan's niece, and the latter was strongly requested by Sarutobi Bawako to be the flower girl. After all, his Inuzuka Inu is the most outstanding one among the new generation of ninjas in the Inuzuka clan, but he is actually reduced to a ninja level with two little bean cubs. Hurry, hurry, hurry. The wedding is about to begin. Ryu, Minato Akira, Fugaku, you and Orochimaru-sama are Dan-sama's best men. Kushina, Katomi, you bridesmaids, hurry up and get in place. And, Asuma Shizune, you two flower girls should get ready quickly. After the third generation has finished reading the congratulations, it will be your turn to appear with the bride and groom. Baeyun Shixin was wearing quite formal clothes and was directing non-stop in the field. As the first Jonin to get close to Kato Dan, he was trusted and valued by Kato Dan. He was responsible for adjusting and arranging many things at the wedding. In the distance, Hiruzen Sarutobi was wearing a Hokage robe, talking to the most famous magistrate from the Daming Prefecture. At the same time, he secretly glanced at a few young people he was paying attention to. Are Minato, Kushina, Ming Jing, and this generation of Ino Shikacho all together. It seems that Minato has a lot of prestige among the younger generation. And Ming Jing has become friends with young people like Minato who have inherited the old man's will of fire. It seems that my guess was right. Sarutobi Hiruzen's smile became even stronger. Third Hokage, the wedding is about to begin. I will go to read the opening speech first. The rest of the matter will be troublesome to you. The officer respectfully gave Sarutobi Hiruzen the last explanation of the steps of the blessing speech, and then straightened his clothes and walked to the front of the stage. After the opening oath, the purification ceremony, and the meal offering ceremony, Ming Jing and other best men and bridesmaids, together with Kato Dan Tsunade, walked to a huge 1,000-armed Buddha statue with the blessing of Sarutobi Hiruzen, the wedding witness and the main priest. This is the Asura god worshipped by the Senju clan and the Uzumaki clan for generations, just like the Uchiha clan would worship Indra god at the Nanga shrine. If the wedding ceremony is held before the gods worshipped will be different according to their family heritage, and some civilian ninjas simply worship the Six Paths Sage when they get married. Next, Sarutobi Hiruzen handed 2 cups of wine to Tsunade and Kato Dan, and exchanged wedding rings after drinking, which meant that the two had become nominal husband and wife. Later, under the guidance of the officer, the couple swore an oath and led all the people to pay tribute to the gods, which meant that the gods and everyone present agreed to the wedding and sent blessings to the two. Later, it was time to eat and drink, and at this point, a wedding had come to an end. The next day, the sun rose 3 poles. The sun shines through the clean windows onto the mirror's face, waking it up. After hurriedly washing up and tidying up, Ming Jing quickly left the door. Yesterday, Uchiha Fugaku specially asked Ming Jing to come to his house today, saying that he had something to give to him. It is still the mansion that even if Ming Jing has done 10S level missions, he may not be able to afford it. Ming Jing, sit down. Fugaku poured a cup of tea and handed it to Ming Jing opposite. Speaking of which, I never thought 2 years ago that you could grow to where you are today so quickly. Without the support of the patriarch and the training of Grandpa Yu, I would not be where I am today. Ming Jing said modestly, the conditions of the descendants of other elders are not worse than yours, but you are the only one in Konoha who can achieve this at this age. In the final analysis, it depends on the person. Uchiha Fugaku shook his head, straightened his body and looked at the mirror. I don't know, what does Ming Jingyu think of the current situation in the village? Ming Jing couldn't help but pause while drinking tea. The third generation is still at his peak. The name of the 3 ninjas is powerful in the ninja world. Mr. Dan is famous far and wide. He is the best among the 5 major nations in terms of peak combat power. In the future, there will be powerful young men like the Fugaku clan leader and Minato Senpai. Now the situation is, of course, very good. Ming Jing's answer was impeccable, and he also praised Uchiha Fugaku. Ding Jing, I think you didn't understand what I meant. Uchiha Fugaku shook his head lightly, feeling that Ming Jing was still too young. This is just an appearance. What I really care about is the current political situation in the village and whether the family can obtain greater benefits from it. The third Hokage is indeed still at his peak, but based on his age, it is estimated that there will be a significant decline within 10 years. The first 2 Hokage also selected the successor of the next Hokage when they were about 50 to 60 years old. Ming Jing suddenly understood. Clan Chief Fugaku wants to get involved in the selection of the next Hokage. Good. Uchiha Fugaku simply nodded. Nowadays, the one who is most likely to become Hokage must be Orochimaru, and now that Kato Dan and Tsunade are married, their prestige has been superimposed, and the huge influence left by the first and second generations is enough to compete with Orochimaru. Maru competes for the position of the next 4 generations, and this is the best time for the Uchiha clan to profit from it and change the situation in the village. Quote, does Chief Fugaku want to choose one of Orochimaru-sama and Dan-sensei to support him so that the future new Hokage can achieve the family's demands? No, I was wondering if I would have the opportunity to join in the process in the future and compete with them for the position of Hokage with the support of my family. Ming Jing remained silent. He wanted to say, Chief Fugaku, do you have no idea? Do you have the strength to compete with Kato-dan and Orochimaru? But in the original time and space, this one seems to be really competing with Namikaze Minato and Orochimaru for the 4th generation. I also know that Senior Duan is your teacher, Ming Jing, and he has always regarded you as a disciple who will inherit the way of ninja. I will not let you be embarrassed in front of your family and teacher. Seeing that Ming Jing became silent, a trace of disappointment flashed in Uchiha Fugaku's eyes. Clan leader, with all due respect, how does the Senju clan compare to the Uchiha clan? Uchiha Fugaku thought for a while, and finally answered, in the past 1,000 years, they should have been about the same, but now the Senju clan is declining, and although Uchiha is not as prosperous as Uchiha Madara's reign, but the strength is still the same. Generally speaking, Uchiha should be stronger. Quote, I think so. Ming Jing nodded in agreement. As Uchiha, he and Uchiha Fugaku would never admit that Uchiha was worse than Senju. But even though the Senju clan has withered so much now, purely in terms of family reputation, the Senju clan is still on par with the Uchiha clan, right? The bright mirror follows the path of good guidance. In fact, the reputation of the Senju clan in the village is much better than that of the Uchiha. The former has almost become a legend. Only the stories of famous strong men like Tsunade and the 1st and 2nd generations are circulated in the village. The latter is mostly seen above the top, and the police force uses strict law enforcement methods to manage it every day. The villagers must have a much better sense of the Senju clan than the Uchiha. Regarding Ming Jing's statement, Uchiha Fugaku nodded in approval. In fact, he still had some idea of Uchiha's current reputation in the village. Uchiha still had a certain prestige because of the strong image he had created over the past many years. So, from this aspect, Chief Fugaku, your advantage in this aspect has been wiped out by Mr. Dan and Lady Tsunade, right? Uchiha Fugaku nodded again, and then said, Ding Jing, don't forget that the Senju clan is now incomparable to Uchiha in other aspects. Uchiha still has powerful Junin including Elder Yu, and also controls real power departments such as the police department. Tsunade-sama has now also established the village's medical department and serves as the minister. In terms of level, this is the same level as the police department. In terms of power, Tsunade-sama is not bad. In terms of strength, perhaps the clan leader, it's possible to reach that level, but at most it's comparable to one of Tsunade-sama and Dan-sensei. Ming Jing shook his head. He still hoped to persuade Uchiha Fugaku to give up some illusions. If the 3rd Hokage and Danzo knew Fugaku's idea, they would definitely curse the evil Uchiha and secretly prepare some actions to continue to suppress the Uchiha. Tsunade alone is enough to offset all your advantages, Chief Fugaku. What's more, there is the existence of Teacher Dan, who is also supported by many ninjas. Now he has received the support of many civilian ninjas and small and medium-sized ninja clans. He will only be stronger in the future, not to mention the more optimistic Lord Orochimaru. Chief Fugaku, if you really want to talk about it, you can only rank 4th in the order of the 4th Hokage. Even lower, even if Orochimaru, Tsunade or Kato-dan is not the Hokage, the 3rd Hokage can still continue to sit in this position. Even if the 3rd Hokage is gone, there is still Shimura Danzo. What's more, in the future, there is also the rising star Namikaze Minato. The most important thing is that although the positions of successive Hokage seem to be elected by the villagers, and the 1st Hokage was indeed elected unanimously by all the villagers, the 2nd generation's appointment was originally the intention of the 1st generation, and the 3rd generation was simply selected by the 2nd generation before his death. It was just a show of voting after returning to the village and getting the support of Uzumaki Mito to stabilize people's hearts and make it more legitimate. If the 3rd generation steps down, he will definitely only support one of these 3 people. And the succession of each generation of Hokage is influenced by the previous Hokage, how could the third generation not step down? Uchiha Fugaku fell silent. Mingjing's analysis made Uchiha Fugaku realize that he really didn't have much chance of winning the position of the fourth generation. However, he still held a glimmer of hope in his heart. What if something changed in the past few years? His indecisive character made it difficult for him to make up his mind. He planned to maintain the current situation and wait for the subsequent turnaround. Mingjing looked at Uchiha Fugaku's expression and guessed his plan. To be honest, this clan leader may really have no political ability to play tricks, otherwise he would not have been the clan leader for so many years and still not completely regained his power. If he were to say, Mingjing himself is now the direct disciple of Kato Dan, the candidate for Hokage. If Kato Dan becomes Hokage in the future, the Uchiha clan will not be too bad with Mingjing's relationship. As the helmsman of a large family, what Uchiha Fugaku should do now is to make bets separately. Let some people with a certain status in the family make friends with Orochimaru, and if he still has any ideas in his heart, he should also make great efforts to make friends with outstanding juniors of this generation, such as Ino Shikacho and Namikaze Minato, and make plans for a longer-term future. But the Uchiha clan is used to being the boss in the past history. Even if they were defeated by the Senju clan and established Konoha with them, they regarded themselves and the Senju clan as equals. In this regard, they really don't have much experience, far less than the Ino Shikacho and Sarutobi Shimura clans. Forget it, there is still a long time to discuss the election of the fourth generation. Let's talk about it later. Uchiha Fugaku waved his hand, and then reached out and took out a long wooden box made of rosewood from under the table. This is another main purpose of calling Mingjing here today. With a click, the card slot on the long box was opened, and after opening it, a sword with dazzling cold light was revealed. This is the legendary 10-fisted sword, one of the Kusanagi swords handed down in the ninja world, named Heaven's Tail Feather, which is the fire god sword that killed the fire god Kagutsuchi in the myth. It was the sword of the family's second leader Uchiha Izuna 40 years ago, and is as famous as the second Hokage's sword, the Thunder God Sword. 10-fisted sword, Heaven's Tail Feather, or the Fire God Sword as famous as the Thunder God Sword. A series of names, all represent the extraordinary nature of this sword. In the low-pitched statement of Uchiha Fugaku, Mingjing picked up the sword and observed it carefully. The sword body is pointed at the top and narrow at the bottom, with simple flames and magatama patterns on the hilt, and a small wine gourd-style pendant hanging at the bottom of the hilt. Noticing Mingjing's gaze on the wine gourd, Uchiha Fugaku continued to explain. As a weapon passed down from ancient times by the Uchiha clan, this sword is naturally highly compatible with the Uchiha clan. If an Uchiha clan masters the divine power of Susanoo possessed by the Sharingan, the Heaven's Tail Feather will also become a spiritual weapon and become a weapon used by Susanoo. Once the enemy is pierced by the sword, he will be sealed in the wine gourd at the bottom by the 10-fist sword, the strongest seal that the Uchiha clan can have. In history, Uchiha Izuna, as the second leader of the family, helped the then clan leader Uchiha Madara to bring the Uchiha clan to its heyday. Mingjing, today I hand this sword to you, and I also hope that in the future you can help me push the family to a new peak like Uchiha Izuna. Uchiha Fugaku's voice was loud and clear. Thank you, clan leader Fugaku. Mingjing sighed inwardly, and push the family to a new peak. In the original history, the Uchiha clan was defeated and exterminated by you. Mingjing can only hope that his arrival can avoid the tragic fate of the Uchiha clan in the future, and thank God that he doesn't have to continue to decline. However, with the support of the Reincarnation Watch, Mingjing believes that he still has a high probability of changing the future of the Uchiha clan. After the heavy snow, it is the new year. In Konoha, he spent the new year with Uchiha Yu and the Kato couple and other close people, and after building relationships with the younger generation such as Namikaze Minato, Mingjing returned to the Demon Slayer world. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. In the small square of the butterfly house, Fuzugawa Shima waved the sun wheel sword in his hand, and launched waves of attacks in front of him quickly and sharply. Tokito Ichiro gritted his teeth and struggled to support himself under Fuzugawa Shima's crazy attack. Sigui, Muichiro's brother, is so powerful. Tanjiro Kamado looked at the two people fighting in the field and couldn't help but exclaimed. In just 2 months, the Tokito brothers made rapid progress. They have passed the test of Fujikiyama and become members of the Demon Slayer Corps swordsmen. Now Ichiro can even hold out for such a long time against Fuzugawa Miya, a master ranked in the top 3 among the pillars. It seems that these two brothers were born for breathing. After learning the wind breathing with Fuzugawa for a period of time, Ichiro felt that his compatibility with the breathing method could be further improved, and decisively chose the smoke breathing created by the previous generation of swordsmen of the Demon Slayer Corps. This is a breathing method derived from the wind breathing and the flame breathing. Muichiro also learned the Kasumi breathing. What's more outrageous is that after holding the sword for 2 months, the members below the pillar level in the Demon Slayer Corps are basically no longer his opponents. Of course, Ichiro is unwilling to be compared with his younger brother. In his opinion, he is the one who should protect his younger brother. Fushigawara Shima understood Tokido Ichiro's feelings very well, because he was also determined to protect his brother Fushigawara Genya. However, he was good at wind breathing. Although smoke breathing was a breathing method derived from wind breathing, it was okay to give Ichiro guidance in the early stage, but it was not so good in the later stage. He could only give Ichiro high-intensity practical training. Now, Rengoku Kyojuro was invited to help guide. As for Tanjiro, he entered the site of the Demon Slayer Corps high level because of the successor of sun breathing. Because his personality was very compatible with Kyojuro, he followed Kyojuro to learn flame breathing. The most important thing is that Kyojuro is the only one among the 9 pillars who has learned sun breathing. Because Tanjiro can withstand Rengoku Kyojuro's strict training, Kyojuro has even decided to take him in as his stepson after Tanjiro passes Fujisakiyama's selection. Kamado boy, you are also very good. I believe that as long as you work hard enough, you can become as good as Ichiro and the others. Kyojuro watched the battle between Ichiro and Fushigawara Sane with a sharp gaze, and encouraged Tanjiro. With a clang, the Nichiren sword in Ichiro's hand was knocked to the ground by Fushigawara Sane. Although the Tokido brothers are already very good, they are still incomparable to masters like Fuzugawa Minoru, who used to be ranked in the top 3 in the Demon Slayer Corps. Yes, the top 3 in the past. There is no need to say much about Yume Hiei. After Mingjing came, Fuzugawa lost another one. Now Rengoku Kyojuro has also greatly increased his strength after mastering the sun breathing. Kyojuro, this kid will be handed over to you to train in the future. By the way, his physical fitness is now sufficient, and he can try to see if he can learn the sun breathing with you. Remember, kid, as my stepson, don't embarrass me. Fuzugawa Minoru taught Yujilang a lesson, and then leaned aside to rest and watch. Leave it to me. Rengoku Kyojuro enthusiastically took over the task of guiding Yujilang, and by the way, he began to teach Yujilang to try to learn the sun breathing. Sun breathing. No, I still can't learn it. Yujilang was a little dejected. Although the exquisite sun breathing brought him a lot of insights, he still couldn't learn it. Even this kid's talent can't be learned. I just don't know, if that guy comes back, can he still learn my breathing method just by looking at it once like before? Fuzugawa Shia looked at Tokido Ichiro, who was asking Kyojuro for advice, and a trace of disappointment flashed in his eyes. But even I couldn't learn this sun breathing. If Ichiro has the strength he has today, if he has more experience, he should be able to become a pillar, which doesn't disgrace my reputation. Just when Fuzugawa Shia was thinking, the gate of the yard was pushed open, revealing Mingjing's figure. Mingjing, great, you finally came back after paying homage to your relatives. Rengoku Kyojuro and Tokido Ichiro ended their conversation and looked at Mingjing, who pushed the door open with joy. Mingjing's absence during this period of time was said to the Demon Slayer Corps that he wanted to go back to pay homage to his relatives during the new year. In fact, when he was in Konoha, Mingjing did go to the memorial in person. Kyojuro, and everyone, long time no see. Mingjing greeted everyone with a faint smile on his face. Fuzugawa Miya waved his hand as a response, and Yuichiro was quite excited about Mingjing's arrival. After all, this was the savior of him and his brother. Tanjiro was a little embarrassed about the man who knocked him out and tied his whole family down the mountain, but he soon welcomed Mingjing's arrival warmly. At this point, he naturally would not believe in the existence of breathing methods and ghosts. Even after learning many deeds from Kyojuro, he decided to master powerful power to eliminate evil ghosts while protecting his family. I just heard it outside, Kyojuro, you learned the sun breathing one step ahead of everyone else. Mingjing, I believe that if it were you, you would definitely learn it. And speaking of it, maybe it's because I look alike to Tanjiro and his family. Part of my hair and eyeballs are red. The speaker is unintentional, but the listener is attentive. Part of their hair and eyes are red, and they are also born into a family that has been engaged in fire-related work for generations. They are the sons of the fire burning. Tanjiro has already shown in the original work that he can learn the breathing of the sun. Now let's look at the other two people who have learned the breathing of the sun. Sugakuni Yorichi and Rengoku Kyojuro both have red hair and eyes. The latter is from the Rengoku family that has inherited the breathing of flames for generations, and the former is from a noble family in the Warring States period. Although it is not clear what he does, it may also be related to fire. It is possible, but it probably depends on the person. Otherwise, if that's the case, then Sugakuni Yorichi's brother, Sugakuni Iwakatsu, is now one of the upper rank. Son of the fire burning? Tanjiro asked curiously. I have heard of the concept of the son of the fire burning. Fuzugawa Miya stood up and said. Legend has it that if a family that has been engaged in fire-related industries for generations gives birth to a child with red hair and red eyes, it means that this family is blessed by the god of fire and can bring good luck to the people around them. Is it only this son of the fire burning who can learn the breathing of the sun? If that's the case, then even Uchiha Mingjing, who can use the red eyes of the other shore as a regular means, can't learn it as easily as before, right? Coincidentally, Mingjing also intends to use the Sharingan to copy the sun breathing. In that case, Kyojuro, let's have a sparring match, and let me see the power of the sun breathing. I couldn't ask for more. Although I was definitely not your opponent last year, I also want to know if I have narrowed the gap between you and me. Rengoku Kyojuro had a faint smile on his face and invited Mingjing. Okay, but in order to avoid being scolded by Miss Shinobu after tearing it down, let's go outside. Mingjing nodded and accepted Rengoku Kyojuro's invitation. The wilderness outside the butterfly house. Uchiha Mingjing and Rengoku Kyojuro faced each other, holding their swords and looking at each other. Not far away, Fuzugawa Shima stood on the other side as a referee. Even if he couldn't beat the two men with his strength, he still had the ability to intervene and stop the fight to prevent anyone from getting hurt. Another time, Tanjiro and Ichiro sat on a big rock, curiously watching the two men confronting each other in the field. Ichiro, who do you think will win? I don't know, kid, but if I have to say it, it should be Uchiha Mirror. Ichiro recalled the sword that Mingjing used to save him and his brother. The speed of that sword burst out. Even though he now has strong combat power, he doesn't think he can do it. Not to mention that Mingjing is still his savior. Although he has a good impression of Infernal Affairs Anjiro, Ichiro still chooses to support Mingjing. But I think Brother Purgatory is more powerful. He has learned the fire god Kagura, which the other pillars have not learned. Okay, let's get started, stop talking nonsense. Uchiha Mingjing looked at the figure of Purgatory Anjiro standing upright and holding a sword in front of him, and also pulled out the scabbard and opened his Sharingan. Are you all ready? Let's get started. Immortal Chuan Sania looked at the two of them, raised his hand and said. Almost at the first moment that Immortal Kawa Sania finished speaking, the sound of clashing swords erupted in the field. Breath of the sun, one shape, and a flash of round dance. Breath of fire, one type Shiranui. The figures of the two disappeared instantly, and the Nichiren swords burning with orange and red flames in their hands quickly collided with each other. It's really strong. This was the first thought that flashed through their minds at the same time. Adding a setting, the special effects of anime exist in this demon-destroying world. For Purgatory Xingjulong, the pressure put on him by Mingjing is even greater than that of Mingmingyu Xingming. This is not only because Mingjing's Sharingan can perfectly seize all fighting opportunities, but also because Mingjing's current breathing skills have been greatly improved compared to the past. Not only can he breathe regularly, he can also quickly and simultaneously extract chakra, absorb natural energy, and condense magic chakra in an instant. Those previous forward swings have completely disappeared, and the strength has once again improved to a higher level than in the past. To Mingjing, Purgatory Xingshulang's strength at this time was almost the same as that of Bei Mingyu Xingming. His wrist strength, speed, and explosive power cannot be ranked first in the column, but he can definitely be ranked in the top 3. His overall quality is extremely high. At this time, paired with Sun Breath, which has the strongest comprehensive ability, the strength ratio there has also been a huge improvement from the past. The breath of the sun too shapes the sky of blue luo. Dots of sparks erupted from Purgatory Angero's mouth as he breathed, and he swung the long knife in his hand, as if a sun was drawn directly in front of his body, and slashed towards Ming Jing with a ferocious impact. The eyes in Ming Jing Sharingan's eyes were spinning. While turning backwards to avoid the blow, he ignored Purgatory Angero in front of him and quickly rotated the Nichiren sword in his hand from bottom to top using one foot as an axis. Cut towards the rear. Breath of Fire Type 2 Ascending Blazing Flame. Breath of the Sun Shape of 4 Magic Sun Rainbow. The two sun blades collided together again. This move of Magic Sun Rainbow relies on the instant burst of rotation of the body to move at high speed, leaving an afterimage on the spot. At the same time, it uses the reflection of the blade and the light of the flame when performing the sword skill to hide itself, thereby achieving an effect similar to teleportation behind the enemy's back. However, Ming Jing, who has the 3 Magatama Sharingan, can still catch Angero's figure when he performs this move. These two guys are stronger than me. Whether it's the power of their moves, the speed that Angero just showed, or Ming Jing's terrifying eyesight, they are not what I have. Immortal Kawasania looked at the two fighting on the field with a complicated expression. He felt unhappy but also felt a little happy at the same time. Of course, he was unhappy because the strength of these two people had surpassed that of himself, who was originally the second most powerful person after Mingming Yu Xingming. He was happy because his companions' increased strength allowed them to hunt more and stronger ghosts. Breath of the Sun Shape of the Land Bone Scorching Sun. Seeing that his move was ineffective, Purgatory Angero launched a fierce attack decisively. He quickly rotated and swung the Nichiren sword in his hand, forming a whirlpool-like flame slash in front of him. Breath of Fire Shape of 4 Shungyan Vortex. As a swordsman who has mastered multiple breathing methods at the same time, the more he fights, the more Ming Jing can feel that the breath of flame is the breathing method closest to the breath of the sun, and many of its moves are similar to the breath of the sun. Breathing is very close. The same whirlpool flame slash reappeared in the hands of Ming Jing. Relying on the powerful vision of the Sharingan, he perfectly blocked every attack of Purgatory Angero and even had the energy to launch a counterattack. Breath of Flame 3 types all forms of Chi Flame. Breath of Fire Shape of Wu Fire Tiger. Sun breathing is the most powerful breathing technique created by Enichi Sukuni, but Purgatory Kyojuro is not Enichi Sukuni. Even though Anjojuro learned how to breathe and his strength greatly improved, he was gradually at a disadvantage when facing Uchiha Mingjing, who was able to combine breathing with chakra and use Senjutsu chakra. Not to mention, the Uchiha mirror with the Sharingan can see through almost every move of Purgatory Angero. There's something wrong with that guy Angero's condition. Immortal Kawasania looked at the battle in the field, his eyes condensed. Because at this time, facing Ming Jing's attack, Purgatory Xingjulong's appearance suddenly changed from the initial embarrassment. It's like fighting with instinct. Even like Uchiha Mirror, who has the red eye of the other side, he begins to predict the enemy's movements. Those who have the same feeling as Immortal Sakawasania include Tanjiro and Uchiha Mingjing. The former only felt that Purgatory Angero's current state was similar to his father when he jumped into Fire God Kagura. Tanjiro still remembered that Tanjiro told him that as long as he mastered Fire God Kagura to a certain level, he would be able to sense Transparent World. Did Anjiro master the Transparent World under my pressure? After Uchiha Mingjing noticed this, he continued to maintain pressure on Purgatory Angero while using the Sharingan to copy the breathing rhythm of sun breath and the natural energy flow path in the body. Sharingan is driven by chakra. When using Senjutsu chakra, Mingjing can also see the flow of natural energy in Angero's body. Transparency into the world is the top skill in the world of demon slayers. The third of the upper strings, Yiwazao, has been unable to reach the supreme state for hundreds of years. Once mastered, it is equivalent to possessing the ability of perspective plus perception plus predicting attacks. According to Yiwazuo, this thing can only be mastered when one's fighting spirit has been cultivated to its peak, but those who have learned the breathing of the sun are obviously not included in this. This can be seen from the fact that ordinary people like Tanjiro's father, Tanjiro, can master the transparent world through the fire-jumping god Kagura. Because this is the breathing method that Yoriichi Sugakuko, a person who is naturally transparent, developed according to his own situation in order to kill Muzan. Practicing the breathing of the sun may be a way to develop oneself in the direction of Yoriichi Sugakuko. After the battle, Rengoku Kyojuro gasped for air, and then took the kettle from Tanjiro beside him and drank tons of water. As for Mingjing, he stayed where he was, pondering the breathing of the sun that he had just copied with the Sharingan. Brother Rengoku, did you just enter a transparent world? My father Tanjiro said this when he taught me the god of fire Kagura, and asked me to write it down. Seeing Rengoku Kyojuro stop drinking water and wipe his lips with his sleeve, Tanjiro asked impatiently. Transparent world, a very vivid metaphor, but instead of saying transparent, I feel that it is more appropriate to describe it as a transparent world. At this point, Rengoku Kyojuro closed his eyes again. Even if I close my eyes, I can still clearly see you, and even what action you will take next, I can see clearly. Rengoku Kyojuro said this while demonstrating it, perfectly synchronizing the actions of Tanjiro beside him. Additional setting, the special effects of anime exist in this Demon Slayer world. Even if you close your eyes, can you still see everything around you? Mingjing put away the Nichiren sword and remembered what Kato said when he pointed his finger at him. If you practice the art of spiritual activation to the 3rd level, you will have this ability, and you will also have a perception that is no worse than those of the top perception ninjas. It is estimated that unlike Demon Slayer world, which uses breathing techniques to assist in opening the transparent world, Kato-dan relies on strong mental power to violently break through the obstacles between the mental and the real world to achieve this. It is probably because of this, the powerful mental power accumulated in the past can also bring a great bonus to the perception ability. And I remember that people who turn on the fairy mode also seem to have extremely strong perception capabilities. I don't know, can I do it? Thoughts were swirling in Mingjing's mind. On the other side, Immortal Kawasania could not wait to ask Purgatory Anjiro about some details about the transparent world. In his opinion, if he couldn't learn the breath of the sun, then if he could master the transparent world, it would be of great help to his fighting ability. I think Mr. Immortal Sichuan must be able to learn how to see through the world. Just like Mr. Mingmingyu, although he can't see with his eyes, he can still use his mind's eye skills like an ordinary person, and Mr. Yusui's music charts, these may be all through the prototype of seeing through the world shows that even if you don't know how to breathe, it is possible to learn to see through the world. Purgatory Anjiro enthusiastically shared his thoughts and feelings with everyone present. Tokido Ichiro even took a charcoal pen to record Anjiro's words in a small book. By the way, speaking of which, Mingjing, have you learned how to breathe the sun? After listening attentively to Purgatory Anjiro's insights on the transparent world, Immortal Kawasania remembered it in his heart and turned his head to the mirror and asked curiously. Let me try. Mingjing also felt that he was almost rested, so he walked aside and pulled out the sun blade from his waist. The breath of the sun. Isn't right. Mingjing paused for a moment before shaking his head. Natural energy did not move around in his body at all like it did in Purgatory Anjiro's body. Sure enough, even you can't do it. It seems that only the son of Hajuo can learn the breath of the sun. What bullshit. Immortal Chuan Sania frowned, a trace of disappointment flashed in his eyes. If even Uchiha Mingjing couldn't learn the breath of the sun, then it would be even more impossible for him. Wait a minute, Mr. Fusukawa, look. Purgatory Anjiro patted the Immortal Kawasania on the shoulder and said. Having mastered the transparent world, he can see more. If natural energy doesn't work, how about using Senjutsu Chakra? There is also natural energy in Senjutsu Chakra. My ability to control Senjutsu Chakra is also stronger. It's almost the same as using the original chakra, and it's even better. What's more, the power of magical chakra is stronger than pure natural energy or chakra. Thoughts flashed through his mind, and Mingjing decided to try again. Holding the handle of the knife with a suitable strength, Mingjing took a deep breath, and little red sparks appeared in his mouth as he breathed. The sun blade in his hand ignited a slightly different flame than when he used the breath of flame. Following the movement of the mirror, it quickly drew an arc in midair, like the sun rising. The breath of the sun, the shape of one, the round dance. The flames rose, illuminating everyone's faces. The breath of the sun used by Ming Jing is much stronger than mine. Purgatory Xingjulong looked at Ming Jing's movements and couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Congratulations, Ming Jing, once this mission is completed, you will be able to become a pillar, right? Xingshiro shook his sweat-soaked clothes, looked at the crows flying in the sky and smiled at the mirror. Probably, there are already 49 ghosts. Ming Jing nodded in response. After learning the breath of the sun, his strength improved to a higher level than before. I just don't know what you will use as a name when you become a pillar, Ming Jing. It should be Nizu, right? Although Tanjiro is very hardworking and has a high compatibility with the breath of flame, and his strength has improved quickly, but for the time being, you are still unable to become a pillar, and I have inherited the position of my father's flame pillar, so among the remaining people, you should be the only one who can obtain the title of sun pillar with the breath of the sun. In Anjiro's words, Matsuchiro fluttered his wings and landed on Ming Jing's shoulder. Uchiha Mirror, southeast, there are many team members missing near Mount Antori. It is suspected that the 12 ghost moons are haunting. Matsuchiro's sharp and hoarse voice rang in his ears, and when he heard that the 12 ghost moons were coming and going, Purgatory Anjiro's expression suddenly became more solemn. 12 ghost moons. It's just the 12 ghost moons. Ming Jing smiled. After all, he was also an Uchiha. Don't underestimate the 12 ghost moons, Ming Jing. If it's a lower string ghost, it's fine. Each pillar has the power to kill the lower string ghost, but if it's an upper string ghost, it's completely different from the lower string ghost. The last time there was a change was 130 years ago, and even many people died at the hands of the Shangxian ghost. Xingjulong said seriously. But in the past 100 years or so, there hasn't been a pillar as strong as ours, and there has also been a pillar that learned how to breathe the sun. A confident smile appeared on Ming Jing's face. The practicality of the 3 Magatama Sharingan in battle is no worse than the transparent world of Purgatory Anjiro. Senjutsu chakra and pure natural energy are not on the same level. No matter how strong the bonus of the stripes to the swordsman is, it won't exceed Senjutsu chakra. And with Ming Jing's current grip strength, it is not difficult to turn the Sun Lun Dao in his hand into a He Dao. He almost owns the 3-piece set that is the pinnacle of Demon Slayer combat power in disguise. Coupled with the ninja's various ninjutsu that are even weirder and more magical than blood ghost techniques, Ming Jing believes that even if he encounters one of the top strings, the Black Death Eye, he may not lose. And even if he couldn't defeat him, he was sure to escape with all kinds of ninjutsu. Even if he encountered Mu Misfortune, he could directly activate the Reincarnation Watch at the critical moment and return to the world of Naruto to escape. Alright, Xingshoulang, although Mingming Island has learned how to be transparent now, and Yusui can always maintain the state of the chart, the Immortal River and the others have not yet started to understand the world of transparency, and they still need your help and guidance. I hope when I come back, I can see a different demon-slaying team. Ming Jing grinned at Purgatory Anjiro next to him, took out a few more pine nuts and fed them to Matsuchiro on his shoulder, then picked up the chakra and jumped into the distance under Matsuchiro's guidance. Mount Antori is located within the jurisdiction of Saitama Prefecture and is inaccessible. However, due to geographical factors, the town of Chichibu at the foot of the mountain prospered rapidly following the development of Kyoto after the Meiji Restoration. It is related to sericulture, silk reeling, and other silk products. The industry is mainly based on this. According to this momentum, it may be able to rise from a town to a city in the future. In a small courtyard full of wisteria flowers, Lord Mirror, a demon slayer swordsman, handed the pamphlet to Ming Jing respectfully. Not to mention that almost everyone knows that Ming Jing will soon become the next pillar. Based on Ming Jing's current status as a grade A swordsman, it is higher than these ordinary swordsmen. In December of the first year of Taisho, the swordsman Maruta Nihonhiro was here to kill ghosts. There were traces of the battle at the scene of his disappearance. In the same month, level 5 swordsman Akiba Zoji came here to investigate for the second time, but to no avail. He disappeared in Saitama Prefecture a month later, leaving traces of battle at the scene. In February of the second year of Taisho, Murakami Takeji, a second-class swordsman, disappeared in Yamanashi Prefecture, leaving traces of battle at the scene. In March of the second year of Taisho, the first-class swordsman Jichiro Hirakawa traced the traces of ghosts all the way to Mount Untori. He was defeated and killed. It was suspected that the 12 ghost moons with activities centered on Mount Untori were haunted. March, what happened in this month, was able to kill a grade A swordsman, no wonder he was considered one of the 12 ghost moons. Further down, there is some more specific information, such as a more accurate time range of the disappearance and a more precise location. Is there any other news? Since there are ghosts, these ghosts must eat people. If there is information about other ordinary people encountering ghosts, the location of the ghosts can be further determined. Ming Jing closed the book and asked the Demon Slayer swordsman in front of him. Mr. Hirakawa has also pursued this information, so we have also collected missing persons cases around here in the past year, which are on the back pages of that booklet. Ming Jing opened the booklet again, turned to the last 2 pages and started reading. The records here are very detailed, including the age, gender and family status of each missing person. Are they all adult men? Ming Jing raised his eyebrows. There are 2 of these ghosts, and they all have weird quirks. Some only eat women, and some only eat children. However, women are generally not excluded. For those ghosts, young girls are their favorite. But it just so happens that there is one person among the 12 ghost moons who will not attack women, and that is the third of the upper string, Yiwo constellation. If it's this guy, it shouldn't be difficult to lure him out. Because this guy is a guy who pursues the pinnacle of martial arts. As long as he is a strong man, he can sense the fighting spirit exuded by powerful creatures through his blood ghost technique and come to challenge him. He only needs to show up a few more times in the places where the previous Demon Slayer swordsman disappeared, and Yiwazao will definitely lose his temper and come looking for him. If it was really this third person, Ming Jing would really like to use him to measure his own strength. I probably know it, and I will investigate further in the future. Ming Jing nodded slightly and handed the book back to the swordsman. It was not easy for him. He was still a newcomer. His relationship with the great swordsman Jichiro Hirakawa who died in the battle was similar to Mitsuri Kanroji and Anjiro, who was still a great swordsman at the time. They learned their breathing techniques from each other. He was just starting out but had the bad luck to meet the 12 ghost moons, one of the 3 strongest among the 12 ghost moons. A few days later, Chichibu town, evening, the sun has set. On the street, Ming Jing held a basket of steamed buns he had just bought in his hand, and while eating, he walked to a remote bamboo forest on the edge of the town. He has been practicing swordsmanship in this bamboo forest recently. From Yiwo Zuo's point of view, everyone in this world has fighting spirit, unless they are babies with pure hearts. The stronger the person, the stronger the fighting spirit is. In Der Spiegel's view, this so-called fighting spirit should be related to a person's will, momentum and other mental aspects. Just like when a person punches in a fight, you must first want to punch a certain part of the enemy, and then the signal is sent to the body through the nerves, allowing the hand to throw the punch. If you can achieve a high degree of unity between fist and intention, and achieve a high degree of unity between the generation of thoughts and the swing of the fist, you will be considered a rare master in physical skills. However, no matter how fast you swing your fist, it will still be slower than your own will. Even subconscious muscle memory works the same way. It takes time for nerves to transmit signals. Only by mastering the transparent world can we naturally put away the fighting spirit released to the outside world. Perhaps it was because Yi Wazuo could not sense the fighting spirit in the body of one of the top stringers, the Black Death Eye, that he continued to pursue this as the highest state of fighting spirit. Ming Jing practices his sword in the bamboo forest in order to release his fighting spirit as much as possible to attract Yi Zuo. Anyone with a strong fighting spirit will be challenged by Yi Zuo if they are discovered. The buns taste pretty good, but I feel like they're a bit oily and watery. I might try the one next door next time. Ming Jing bit off the bun and muttered vaguely. Hey, if you want to fight, you don't mind waiting for me to finish the last bun, right? Ming Jing took out the last bun and said to a man with dark blue tattoos all over his body who appeared in the bamboo forest at some unknown time. The person who came was none other than Yi Zuo. It is estimated that he has been waiting for Ming Jing here just after the sun sets. The fighting spirit in you is very different from others, but it is very strong, so strong that few of the pillars who have fought with me can be stronger than you in fighting spirit. I like it very much. Akasaga's face showed an evil smile, and he looked at Ming Jing with a satisfied expression. Tell me your name, you should be qualified to be remembered by me. Burp, Uchiha Ming Jing. Ming Jing swallowed the last bite of the bun and burped. Very good, Uchiha Ming Jing, you remember, the one who killed you is Akaza. As soon as the voice fell, Akaza's feet burst out at a speed that was difficult to capture with the naked eye, and punched Ming Jing. Ming Jing, who has a 3 Magatama Sharingan, can naturally clearly capture the trajectory of Akaza's movements. Sun-breathing type 2 blue sky. The sun blade was unsheathed in an instant, drawing a perfect arc, and split Akaza's arm with one sword. Such power! Akaza's pupils suddenly shrank, and he stopped his forward momentum and quickly retreated. He could feel that after being cut by this swordsman, his regeneration speed, which was far superior to other ghosts, was greatly reduced. Is it because of the breathing method? Although sun breathing and flame breathing are very similar, Akaza, a martial arts master, can naturally see the difference. Of course, Ming Jing would not miss this opportunity. He stepped forward and quickly changed his moves with the sun sword in his hand. Breath of the sun shape of Qiyang Hua 2. Yi Wo Zuo knew that Ming Jing had already seized the opportunity and would be beaten if he retreated. He immediately and decisively blocked Ming Jing's attack with his injured hand in front of him, and at the same time, he spun around with his right foot. Side kick, blocked by Ming Jing's cross sword. That's awesome. Hey, how about you become a ghost too? Then I don't have to worry about beating you to death and can fight you every day. Yi Zuo's eyes were full of excitement and he raised his right arm. The front half of the arm had been chopped off by Ming Jing in just 2 short rounds, and it was rapidly regenerating. Ming Jing didn't talk nonsense, but raised the Nichiren sword in his hand again as an answer. Breath of the Sun 3 type scorching sun red mirror. Yi Wo Zuo curled his lips, then held the tiger's claw in his hand and stepped heavily on it, and a 12-pointed snowflake formation appeared. Spell deployment destruction kill Luo needle. After setting up his posture, Yi Wo Zuo charged forward again and fought with Ming Jing. The sun sword was wrapped in flames and slashed diagonally towards Yi Wo Zuo's neck at a tricky angle, but the latter easily dodged it like a prophet of uncertainty, and struck a side punch with his right hand straight towards the mirror door. The Sharingan in the mirror's eyes rotated smoothly, perfectly capturing all the information on the battlefield. He lowered his head, turned sideways, slashed diagonally and then slashed, and once again took the head of Yi Wo Zuo directly. The breath of the sun, the shape of Ju change, the setting sun turns around. Yi Wo Zuo reacted quickly, stomped his feet heavily on the ground, and rose into the air. While avoiding Ming Jing's blow, he distanced himself, made fists with both hands, and struck the void in rapid succession. Destruction kill sky style. Invisible air cannons were shot out and shot towards the mirror. For swordsmen who generally don't have any advanced attack methods, his move is often very easy to use. Stepping forward, Ming Jing relied on the Sharingan to keenly judge the impact point of the air cannon through Yi Wo Zuo's fist movements and dodge. At the same time, she sheathed the sword and formed seals with both hands. Fire release. Dragon fire technique. 2 flame dragons flew out from Ming Jing's mouth, entangled each other, and smashed towards Yi Wo Zuo menacingly. Hey, are you kidding? How come humans can also use vampire magic? Yi Wo Zuo looked horrified. What surprised him even more was yet to come. No, that guy's fighting spirit suddenly turned into 2 parts. While using the Yi Wo seat to avoid the attack of the dragon fire, Ming Jing and the newly separated shadow clone looked at each other, threw the ninja tool bag in their hands at it, and then drew the sword and rushed forward again. At the same time, the shadow clone also took out the shuriken wrapped with steel wire from the ninja tool bag. Uchiha style. Shuriken. Breath of the sun type of Wu Train. Pieces of charcoal burned by the fire release ninjutsu fell off his body, and Yi Wo Zuo waved his hands continuously again, knocking away the shurikens. Although these shurikens are not made of orangutan red ore, and cannot cause substantial damage to him even if they are stabbed, Yi Wo Zuo can detect it with his fighting spirit. If he lets it go, he will eventually be killed by those steel wires. Tangled up, and finally captured by Uchiha Ming Jing. After resolving the threat posed by the wire shuriken, Yi Wo Zuo will face Ming Jing's swift and fierce slashes again. Destruction kill destruction style. Yi Wo Zuo could only muster his strength and fight with Ming Jing. Although he barely managed to escape the move, his body was knocked away again. Fire release. Impatience flower claws red. The shadow clone used fire escape again, spraying out balls of flames like impatience, wrapping around the shuriken and attacking Yi Wo Zuo. Yi Wo Zuo could only develop his ability to sense fighting spirit to the maximum, and managed to dodge Ming Jing's attack. In all the years since he became a ghost, this was the first time that he was beaten into such a mess by a human. He was completely at a disadvantage and was crushed by Ming Jing. If it weren't for the regeneration speed that was far superior to other ghosts, he would have been dead. But Yi Wozuo's heart is filled with excitement right now. Yes, that's it, that's it. Yi Wozuo was covered in blood, waving his arm that had just been cut off and grown again, fighting fiercely with Ming Jing in a crazy manner. He felt unprecedented pressure, an unprecedented sense of life and death crisis in hundreds of years. He could feel that the last bottleneck between him and the Supreme Realm was gradually loosening. Destruction Kill Ghost Core Eightfold Core. Breath of the Sun Shape of the Land Bone Scorching Sun. Yi Wo Zuo's right hand was cut off for the third time. But at such a close distance, Ming Jing would not miss this opportunity again, and the sword in his hand changed. Breath of the Sun 3-type Scorching Sun Red Mirror. The blade cut through a perfect arc, like the bright sun, and like a mirror shining with red light, and cut into Yi Wozuo's neck horizontally. Boom! Yi Wozuo quickly changed his moves, turning his other hand into a fist and hitting the sword. Before the head was completely cut off, he temporarily changed the path of the sword, causing the Sun Lune Saber to slash upwards diagonally, and Ming Jing, who was holding the sword in both hands. At this moment the door opens wide. Magic Yaohang Technique. A scarlet light flashed in the Sharingan's eyes, causing Yi Wozuo, who had originally wanted to seize this opportunity to punch Ming Jing's heart, to pause. But soon, under the violent consciousness of the Muzan cells in his body, Akaza returned to normal, and Ming Jing also took advantage of this short moment to stop and change his moves, and knocked Akaza away again. Really, an amazing person. Akaza touched the blood on his neck and couldn't help but admire. But now he is different from the last moment. He felt that something seemed to have changed in this world, and everything around him became transparent. Is this the realm I have been pursuing for hundreds of years? Akaza said excitedly. Uchiha Ming Jing, as a stepping stone for me to reach the top, I will always remember you. I believe that if I can eat a powerful human like you, I can start a bloody battle to replace my position, kill Doma, and become the new upper rank too. There is a saying, called, Hashi no Giyu, Oni no Doma. If Tomioka Giyu is not liked by the pillars because of his personality and is the person with the worst popularity among the pillars, then Doma, the second upper rank, can only be said to be worse among the demons, and is truly hated by both people and demons. How come anyone who fights me can open a transparent world? Uchiha Ming Jing was suddenly speechless. How come Rengoku Kyojuro is like this, and you are like this too? It will probably take more effort to kill Akaza now. Even if Akaza opens a transparent world, he is still sure that he can kill Akaza. Because just now, he also opened a transparent world. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.